Welcome to the Tuesday, April 28th special work session. I don't know that this is a work session, right?
Yes.
Continue work session for the city's annual budget. So if you do the roll call.
Counselor Garcia.
Here.
Counselor Yazzie. Counselor Piano. Counselor Molina.
Here.
Mayor DePauli.
Here,
We have a
and
quorum,
you
sir.
would all join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, with that, let's go ahead and Patty, call your first guest.
Okay, today we have just a few funds left to finish our full review. We're going to start with water. He has two funds, number 505, which is the now ballot fee that we're now utilizing, and Fund 506.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council.
Good
So
afternoon,
mention your revenue and then your
Chad,
yeah,
Daryl.
highlight your expenditures.
Yeah, a revenue 506 account.
505. Fund 505 is where we're starting.
I don't have anything for 505.
That's the Navajo Gallup, the tank, the tank.
This is the one I mentioned and told you the other day to make sure you were ready to present. Because you've got a bunch of capital rolling into it this year, so we have to review it.
It's, do you have this list?
Think so.
It's the, on your water, and it's the, Rehoboth tank. No, yeah,
Not for your fund. So,
This one?
so you've
yeah.
got revenues that come in here.
page 5.
So this year, your revenue, finance put that in for you because you felt to. We've
I'm
got
not-
it in at 1858.
I'm not telling the wrong thing, am I? Starting here with the tanks, or are we done with the tanks?
We're kind of done going over capital. He was
Okay.
supposed to just give us a quick rundown of this, and I
Yeah.
sent this sheet out a couple days ago to everybody. Well, I sent this out last week before Thursday's work session that we did.
So, okay, so could you open up the, line item on the screen?
Certainly.
Okay, so, and
So your first item is your annual Hickory expense.
Okay, 50,000.
Jackie, I'm sorry, what, is it 35 a year or 70 a year?
It's around 70 a year.
Okay,
Let me see what we did the purchase order for this year. Hold on.
and this is one of our most important expenses, so we just, I mean, if it's 70, let's make it 70.
And I'll correct the spelling on it as well.
It's supposed to snow this week. As long as we can make it the, that it's the, full 70,
Okay, I've got that. So
right?
we can update that. Okay,
7.
39, 129, 41. Doesn't sound right.
maybe
Yeah.
that. For both payments?
That's what it looks like. But that-
Okay, then it- And I'm sorry, I get confused if it's 35 a year or 35 a half.
No, the whole year. Because we paid both invoices, so
Okay.
it's $39,129.42.
And that change, that amount doesn't change. It's always the same every year, right?
It might go up next year a
A
little
little
bit.
bit
Is there
CPI.
any
There's
escalation?
a CPI on it.
Okay, all right, so 50 is fine. Thanks, Jan. Got that
Okay.
one done. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well. Here we go, 506. We have
Start with your
for
revenue.
FTEs,
Start with your revenue.
revenue is we're projecting at 7.4 million this year. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 full-time employees. We have a superintendent, assistant, engineer. One tech lead for water distribution. We have a level 3 operator who's probably be retiring here soon. So we're gonna need that position filled. And I did ask for a reduction of 2 level 3 operators down to 2. As we have potential employees that can move up.
So then you asked to increase them. It wouldn't be a reduction.
Okay, a reclassification, right?
Yeah, that was taken care of.
Yeah. All right. So that's what we have as far as FTEs.
Jan, just for everybody's information, you have two types of operators. You have production and distribution system.
Correct.
And all of your employees are under the full-time employees, no matter if they're production or distribution.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the designation is made, in our office. Because from what I've heard is that everybody's considered the same, your water production operator, whether you're distribution or production.
In your overtime, you want to give us a highlight of that?
Overtime, we had 150,000 budgeted, so we can bring that down to 140. Because we still have 35,000 left. And like city manager said, overtime is, we can manipulate it to reduce it.
Yeah.
So, and more experienced hands we're getting, we can spread it out and, split the production, which is kind of what is our main overtime user.
The production?
Yes, because we only have 2 individuals.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay, so do we need to get another guy so you don't,
yes.
okay, so once you get
We
another-
can, our distribution crews, they're leveling up. We can transition those individuals into
Into the
production with some training.
We're not hiring, or are we?
I hear
Am I on? Oh, I just thought I'm normally louder. I think they turned down my mic on purpose. Are we hiring another person then, or we just reclassified those 2 and then those could be moved into those positions?
Reclassify the 2 and then will they open up those positions for?
Did was change the funding we just changed the funding so that there was 2 of them were at a higher level.
Okay,
So that as the employees gain those certifications,
Mhm.
the funding's there to just move them up. It
Right.
doesn't change the account or anything. It just allows them to expand and to be able to be rewarded for achieving that certification.
okay.
So so production guys, right now you have
2,
2 production.
Yes.
And 13 distribution?
yes.
Okay.
Well, not 13, we have myself, Brian, my assistant, Satya, the utilities engineer, and we still have Natasha Kenny on our.
Okay, as
on our
administrator.
books. So, and John Cordova, who's our line locator. So they're not in distribution. So we have,
Do you have enough money in here to hire or reclass to get a 3rd production guy? 2 on the production is not as,
we have a production lead still open.
okay.
So,
And
and like I
that's
said,
budgeted in,
yes,
okay, thank you.
the positions are there. We just need to find
My people.
people, yes. Okay, so for travel, we're asking for 5,000. We've done that for 2 years running. Seems to work well for our certification trainings, or we have to earn a certain amount of credits every 3 years to renew our certifications. So we're asking 5,000. We have several listed sites that we can go to. Purchase property or 4420. We are asking 48,853. That's for our phone system, asset software, there is after hours dispatch, which we share a percentage, we share with electric and wastewater, a third of that cost. Okay, next one is 4430, grounds and roadway. When we do repairs, construction, streets department uses those funds to repair streets, curbs and gutters and so on and so forth. And we asked for an increase because there's other areas like I-40, the concrete slope, things like that pop up, large areas that we need to repair. So we have a few, we only have like $8,000 left. And hopefully that'll carry us through to the next go round.
That seems low compared to electricity. What was their shared services cost? Like 200,000, wasn't it?
No, this is the shared service, that's a different line.
Different line,
Yeah.
Correct,
Thank you.
Yeah. And that one's based on percentage of revenue.
Oh, okay.
The shared cost is for our after hours dispatch, the Selectron. Like
Okay.
we shared a third of the cost with us, water and electric. Oh, water, electric and wastewater. So,
We actually allocated based on prior year revenues.
so we have a notification that our cost for next year will be around $10,000 or $16,000. So we added that. So grounds and maintenance, 80,000. 4440, maintenance equipment. We're asking for 500,000 with 550,000 because we use that for our chlorine tanks and water facilities repairs and warehouse stock repair or items. And right now we're kind of running low on our stock.
Do you want
We-
this changed to 550?
Yes. All because we would like to add 50,000 to the warehouse stock. We only have like 10,000 left.
We added 220,000 during our budget hearings.
20,000.
And now he wants to add another.
Well, if that, that could be sufficient,
How many fire hydrants do you have right now in stock?
I think 9.
Oh, yeah, you guys, if you get those 9 in, we'll be doing good.
Be happy to buy some more, right?
Yeah.
We would,
That's good.
I mean, maybe if you do the 9 and then
Right.
we have 220,000 and then,
right. Yeah, well, let's
We
just
cut
stay
that.
at 500,000 then.
what I mean,
And I prefer that you ask the 50,000 and not come back because you're already prepared
Right.
instead of keep coming back. 'Cause
Yeah.
everything's going up and you're already prepared. I'd rather you have that now because we need it. It's a need.
Yeah.
but how many hydrants did we put in this past year?
This past year, around 7.
So
7
we
or
had
8.
9 in stock and put in this past year, if we're following history, we didn't even put in the total amount that we have in storage already.
Right. So that's why we're kind of asking for this
Well,
increase.
But are you also taking account other inflation with an extra 50,000?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fine. I'd much rather, like Linda says, have the stuff in
Okay.
stock and run.
All
And
right, change it to 550 then.
that's, I just want to know what your inventory was, and see where.
The expectation is then
Yeah.
I don't get to the end of the year, so.
Our fuel purchase, we're asking 70,000. We still have like 29,000 left. Okay, 4490. Maintenance other. I would like to ask for 850,000 for wells maintenance, 2 wells. Actually, there's 3 wells that need attention. So we may be able to get 2 in. We have quoted prices of 800,000.
Hang on real quick. Patty, is that on those water wells, since they are part of production? And they were in the original always in the the Navajo Gallup. Can we pay for a portion of those with the 505 or one of those other funds as production?
If,
Yeah, I-
if you guys go through with that ordinance change, that's gonna allow us to utilize that 505 money, we could certainly do some more there. You've got maybe $1 million left there that you can touch for the upcoming year.
Okay, let's see where we end up then.
It just makes.
We know we have money to do it in case we have
Yeah,
because we're coming into June. I mean, coming into May and
Yeah, high demands.
yeah, I don't want to be
so
skimping.
shifting the budget at this point to start utilizing that fund. When we did the water rate study that we're fixing to bring to you in a couple of meetings, we excluded the Navajo Gallup portion of it to focus on just the water.
Yeah.
And by doing this, we take 2 years of work and we're
Well, we can,
kind of nullifying it to a degree by saying, oh, never mind, we have this other money. And we could certainly do it. I think we're gonna have to go back and rework some of our numbers and maybe push the rate proposals back a little bit to make sure it's got the right data in there.
yeah, yeah, when we see, let us look at the rate proposal too, because I know that these wells were
Important.
Kenya,
Kenya,
Allen,
Allen,
Irwin.
and Irwin.
so that might not even be enough right there, but okay.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
We-
We'll go with the 60,
But
So-
however you.
850,000.
Yes.
Okay, if you put 850, is that gonna exceed the budget amount?
So we've added
So it'd be
50.
250,000 in various.
No, we'd be okay still.
Okay, so in the various maintenance, Jen, is that what you're thinking? Instead of $500, make it $250,000?
Yes.
That would imply
Got
a
it.
pressure gauge.
Yeah, I saw that and said, I didn't want 500 in there.
So 250,000,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, no, we're.
That's
44.
various,
No,
various,
850,000.
well, the various will be 250 and well will be 600.
Right.
Make the total 850.
Got it.
Just,
Yeah, go ahead, Frank, ask the question.
so we're asking for 850,000
Mhm.
and the actuals for this year been 177,000.
That was fiscal year 25. That was the entire year.
Where are we at on 26?
3.7.
At maintenance other,
Mhm.
he was budgeted 459,800 and he spent 456,000.
So it's been 177,000 one year, 450 the next year, and now all of a sudden maybe 850.
Well, that's the Pena well
Hmm.
and the Irwin and the Allen.
Right.
Pena's been out for 2 years.
Right.
So we didn't fix any of the, sorry, on
Well,
clarification.
We have 15 wells, so
But do we fix any of the wells last year with that money? I mean, this year?
Yes.
This was-
well, we tried, but
So we
Yeah.
haven't identified.
Yeah.
yes.
Three
Yeah.
wells will go into that, right?
right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, 4493. We're asking 9,000 for hydrant meters. So we've had, some issues with, contractors trying to use potable water for like testing and so on and so forth. And we were not able to keep track of it because we didn't have functional hydrant meters. But now we have 2, so we'd like to add on. Okay, so
Jan, do you ask for a deposit for those meters when you give them, when the contractor takes them, or do they
We use-
just?
yes.
Okay.
And we will invoice them. Cut.
Budgeted for your food grade oil,
Yes, I do. I have it here.
According to this,
says 0.
There's only 2 wells left.
Well, food grade oil, we can split that.
speak English.
That five, yeah, Mhm.
Per barrels a year.
right.
But is this 9,000 enough to cover that, or you need additional money in this specific one?
I would say we don't use $5,000 worth of propane. Let's make it 10,000.
So add $1,000, add 1,000.
9,000 is sufficient.
So you need 1,000 for food grade oil
Mhm.
and you can reduce the propane by 1,000.
Right.
Okay.
Does everybody know what the food grade oil is used for? Used for
We use it to run our motors. And because we supply potable drinking water, we cannot use anything other than food grade oil
Because
in our mold
it goes into the
machinery.
water.
Right.
Yes. And it's on a
We
vertical.
don't want to poison anybody.
In the old days, that didn't start till about 30 years ago. That's probably what's wrong with me.
Now we know what.
Yes. Thank you, Jan.
Where were we?
So 10, 4, and 4.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wait. 10 4.
Holy smokes.
So wait, what did we, so tell me again, what did we put in food grade?
One, 4, and 4, not 10.
What
Oh,
was it?
God, sorry. 9 should be the total.
so his overall line doesn't change, just the
Right.
distribution of his items.
Right. $45.30, professional services,
About your attorney fees.
attorney fees, we were asking 11,000. For Stein and Brockman and some other services we may need.
They only spent 1,500 last in 25.
Yes.
Should be okay. We're not
And
fighting any
I
battles.
think,
Senator Brockman.
It was requested through our legal to budget this much.
Yeah,
So,
How,
Does this also pay for the NAM winners?
I believe so.
no, you're right. You're right, Frank. That we are starting the operation and maintenance of the Navajo Gallop. I think we'll be okay at 11,000 for this year, but next year is what's really gonna get busy. No, this would be, this would pay now.
No, it's not that.
The wastewater,
Just answer my question.
so water,
We can do the cut, the repayment contract, we can have.
Moving on.
what,
okay,
a question,
Right.
what did we pay for attorney fees this year? specifically?
$1,500 for water.
Oh, so it's just the 1,500, so,
We have more stuff coming.
okay, so that's why we're making such a big increase.
Right. Okay, 4530, we're asking 367,000 to cover our lead and copper inventory. And our Superior, which is Lucidity. And various engineering services. And Voda AI, who is doing our predictive modeling for our lead and copper inventory.
Okay, so we do have a grant loan to pay for the lead and copper. Is that what the inventory?
That would be professional services,
But
207, yeah.
is that, okay, so 207, so it's on a different line item,
Yeah,
the lead and copper?
But if your grant is gonna pay for it, then we don't need to budget it here. That's the question.
Yeah, because we have that $100 million
yeah,
and they, for, it's 700,000 we have to repay.
right.
So is this gonna be paid for with that?
Yes,
Okay, so what does that mean, Jackie? We take it out?
Yeah, if the grant's gonna pay for it, we've already got the grant, so we take that out.
yeah,
And the same with the Voda modeling, because that's strictly lead and copper modeling.
right, it is. But this is a subscription fee for a 3-year
Okay,
subscription.
Yeah.
And it's 20,000 a year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can use that grant money to pay for it.
We can, but the grant will eventually expire. So
Okay.
we won't be able to.
So we'll leave that here.
And Jackie and Jan, isn't the cost for the inventory like $100, so isn't it around 1,200? I mean, 1,200, wasn't that?
Well, for the inventory, the different costs, this is what we were given, a cost estimate of 207,000 for professional services to continue working on the inventory.
So.
So we can pay the grant or use that grant, because that's was one of my questions. If we could use that to pay for this, but since we had not gotten the approval for that grant to use it as such, we went ahead and tried to budget it.
Jackie, we haven't spent any money on that grant, have we? Some? Yeah. I don't see why not. I don't see why we can't. We have the grant loan combination exactly for lead and copper.
Right.
You know, we want to keep, the key is we want to keep these categories under these grants because, you know, this is, you know, it's essentially, it's an unfunded mandate. And they said, okay, here's your money. And we need to make sure that if we do run out of money, $1 million wasn't enough. I don't want to, you know, pad it with the city money or other monies when this $1 million specifically for was for the lead and copper study.
Right. And once we're done with the study, then comes in the replacement.
Right.
Service line replacement.
Yeah, we just need to get to the first step and then,
Right.
and it's a 5 year process, but
So we can delete this 207. Okay. Okay, 4590, contractual services, we're asking 30,500. We are for municipal H2O, who monitors our risk management plan for Yatahe and Santa Fe pump stations, because they do utilize chlorine gas. And the other services are like for our radios, Almac, which is the vending equipment at our water loading station. OmniSite is our SCADA for our lift stations. That's wastewater though.
Look at me.
so, hang on real quick. Let's go through this.
So in the future, break this out a little bit further because 30,000 lump sum and just another line is really hard to distinguish.
So Central New Mexico, is Jerry here? Is that?
That's a
rural-
zero.
Is-
We're
is-
asking for it.
Is that your rural New Mexico?
No, that's the on-call.
Okay,
That's Superior, which I talked
Okay.
about previously. So it
So-
needs to come off of this.
what is Central New Mexico?
It's the on-call dispatch service.
Okay.
So when
So
we
we
have
already-
a water leak, you know,
so
somebody calls
it's
this
already there.
number.
Okay,
And then they vet the caller and send it either to water or electric or wastewater. Then we send out our on-call people.
They call. Then they call back.
Yeah.
And then they call, and then they call back.
Because it's so
And then they're
difficult,
placed on hold for 30 minutes.
right?
Then they call back.
Mhm.
And that's something we might need to be looking at to get better service. I've done it on weekends. Just because I don't know who the on-call is, so I call the dispatch number. And when it takes the city manager 2-3 hours to report a leak, we have a problem.
Right, it's difficult to navigate.
and that's why I asked if Jerry's here because this is the same one we use for our SSOs,
Mhm.
SSOs?
Yes, no,
No, SSOs are different.
SSO is
They're
different.
through Metro.
Yes,
Okay. All
This
right.
isn't for any
Yeah.
after-hour utility.
Can we
So-
get a new dispatch group?
We might need to look at that.
We could do an RFP process.
Yeah.
Because electric has a new one, right?
I think we're all in
Well,
one.
say it.
They're all under one. We have an
No,
electric,
they do not have a new one. He wants to go back out for RFP for that.
yeah, they handle all our calls.
Is that Fran?
That was Fran.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Then so that RFP will be covered. We'll do all three utilities. Okay.
yes, we need a budget.
Correct.
Well, I
Yeah,
think he's got it down here. That's why I. was-
so let's go to
Needs to be more-
municipal H2O. Are those the guys that supply the chlorine? Or is that just the,
Municipal H2O, no, they monitor, they do a risk management plan.
they do their RPM?
Yeah, the
Okay,
regulatory.
all right. So, okay, now let's go into other services. Sorry, Jan, I just,
Okay.
so give us the other service list again for 30,000.
Yeah, our radios, our two-way radios. Almac is the company that supplies us the equipment and services for our water loading station and the non-potable water loading station, our vending equipment. OmniSite is SCADA for our wastewater lift stations. It's in alarm.
So Omni got put into other services underwater accidentally, or
Which one?
you said Omni?
OmniSite? No, it's always been there,
You've always had the
Yeah,
wastewater
we've always-
component?
been paying
Okay.
for it, yeah.
Are you also, is it also Omni? Is it also monitoring our pump stations?
No, it
Okay.
is strictly lift stations,
So that's wastewater.
wastewater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Then you need to switch that over and have Jerry's group start paying.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to
No,
make clear distinction.
do we know the amount that you're paying them, Omni?
Not offhand.
Well, thanks. That's why we're here, Jan. We're trying to get these, make sure that the proper funds are
Right.
paying for the proper services.
Omni site is $300
$300 a month,
for the whole fiscal year.
$300. Okay, so it won't make a significant difference.
How much
Thank
was
you.
it?
300,
A year?
that's what it says.
Maybe they can do our
So Jen, then you do need money in this Central New Mexico line, is that,
Yes.
okay?
Hmm.
And how much did you need there?
I have 10,853 budgeted for it.
How much do you need for next year?
That amount,
Exactly 10,853.
make it 11,000.
So
11,000, Patty.
did we just miss that one? Or did you change it, Patty? Was it already 11?
No,
Yes.
it apparently got met.
Okay,
Yeah,
Or,
all right.
I tried to delete it on this line, but I was unable to. Right. Selectron is Central New Mexico Dispatch.
no. Electron.
Superior?
Electron is the automated phone service.
853, okay? So Central New Mexico,
They're two different.
I'd never heard of Central New Mexico. Sorry, Jan, I can't help you. I tried.
Right. So yes, we do need to add that amount to
Yep.
this.
11,000. Got it.
Yes.
Okay,
Let me see, did you get in there, Patty? What was the total now? Go back up.
we're at 30,005 and then we'll be at 41,005.
Yes. Moving on. Contractual services, laboratory testing fees, 4591. We're asking $2,000 to purchase lead and copper testing kits or for schools and daycares in reference to the lead and copper rule.
Yeah, so there we go again. Yes,
Okay,
we want to keep all those services under the grant.
all the lead and copper.
Yeah, Jackie, right? That way we'll know what it costs, because I think the Environment Department kind of gave us some money too, just to make so we could keep track of it, see what it costs a town of 21,000 people to, so they could go back and
So
say, yep, we need more
can
money.
Remove that 2,000.
Got it? Thank you.
Okay. 4610 supplies, we're asking 15,000. Just various operational materials, supplies. 4620, our non-cap furniture.
Thank you.
Furnaces, fixtures and equipment. We are asking 19,800. There will be for discharge hoses, pumps and other equipment, 8,000. we were asked to budget 1,800 for tablets.
By IT.
Yes,
6 tablets?
yes.
Okay.
And various equipment tools for our units.
Did you all have tablets before?
Yeah, but they're outdated. They're really not functional
Oh,
anymore.
he's just updating them.
They were Lance all good vintage. Can you go
You have
up?
to
Let's
wind it up.
wind 'em up. Supplies, inventory, storage, what does that mean for 740,000?
That.
Let's go back down, Patty, back down, other way,
Check.
right there.
That was obsolete inventory that was written off in that year. And so based on this budget request, the inventory we have is in good standard. There's no obsolete inventory.
Except
Is
some
that- is
old
that-
well pumps, anyway, never mind.
Is that right, Jen? You don't have any other obsolete inventory you need to pull out
No.
of stock? Okay.
Here, where were we?
Small tools.
You just covered the tools.
Okay. Next one is small tools for 10,000, which covers our like chop saws and drills, any kind of small tools that our crews need. We're using these equipment, they get worn out really fast because of the water and dirt, so on and so forth. So 4623, 5,000 for hydrant meters.
So we,
This is. Okay, the next
ahead,
one,
Sarah.
4630,
Wait, hang on. Didn't we just buy hydrant meters before?
I just gave
we
up.
just got 2 of them.
Okay, so how many, was that on,
It's hydrants. Now this is
Yeah.
the meters.
no,
Well,
it was-
We're talking about
There-
meters for the hydrant meters.
For the.
Which
For
I
the
don't mind.
contractors.
Selling the contract, yeah.
But I mean, a hydrant meter is expensive, so I'm just, that other hydrant meter was up higher.
but why aren't they all together?
Thank
You
you.
were in stereo. What can we do at quadriphonics?
Okay, just don't touch.
Nope,
No, you can keep
you
talking.
didn't have it spelled out.
Go.
So you're
We-
right.
Yeah.
He did have that up here.
We
somewhere.
had a hydrant meter, but it was a lot, it was only $1,500, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was about 5.
Was it $5,000? Okay, thank
Thought
you.
it was.
Sorry about that,
Okay.
Jan. I didn't.
So, okay,
4,000,
this
I think.
next one,
Wait, let's get to the hydrant meters. Let's just put them in one line item.
Yeah.
If you need 4, you need 4. And as long as you're getting a deposit and they don't end up in, hate to say it, Phoenix, Winslow, Albuquerque.
Jen, where did you have those in the, what other, one?
station and meter,
in this one,
yeah.
right here?
Yeah, it was 4,000.
So that was for the 1 meter at 4,000.
Mhm.
Wow,
You
man,
paid $4,000 for a single meter that
No,
you
no.
put on a hydrant?
Let me get my,
no. I don't think, that's about at least 2 or 3, you know, I know they're about $1,500.
Are they?
And they're big, you know, you can't, they're hard.
1,600
Okay.
meter.
So that would be 3 right there.
Yeah,
Okay, then the next,
Yes.
the other line item of 5,000 is gonna be more meters, or are those meters for like calibrating well pumps or something?
yes. Calibrating well pumps or repair of,
Okay, so this other meter then is gonna be for your production crew to calibrate
yes,
well pump meters.
right,
okay.
more like multimeters and so on and so forth.
Okay, like, so production versus distribution. Got it.
Right. Okay. We are at, just a question, 4630. Safety equipment. We're asking 20,000 for SCBA. Equipment.
Needs to be put into, 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that for the chlorine response?
yes. It just,
Find space.
yeah,
Yeah.
we we did receive our confined space equipment, but we need to update our SCBA's. Because they're.
Who's
getting close
qualified?
to-
Who's qualified to wear that?
I am Jacob Pedro.
Okay,
And
1016.
thanks. That's good.
yeah,
Frank, are you qualified, scuba? Okay, Our city manager is too, so.
Okay, we're gonna move that to risk management
Skiba.
to 4630. Got it. And then Amanda will manage that.
Yeah, all right. Uniforms, 7,400. Okay, lab testing equipment, 5,000, because we have, I wonder if that can also be covered by the grant.
Testing kits, let's put it back into. that
Lead,
grant.
Okay.
lead testing, put all the lead together so we can track it
All right.
and hopefully
So
we'll
we
exceed
have
the $1 million.
Individuals asking to test their water
Mhm.
for lead since we sent out the notifications. So that's what that was for, but we can move it to the grant.
So are you buying these yourself or are
Yes.
you're not getting from the Drinking Water Bureau?
Who?
Drinking Water Bureau, that
No.
they don't, okay, so you're buying them.
We're buying them, yes.
Have you purchased any yet?
Not yet,
Okay.
because we don't
So
really have the money.
Hear
for
that, Fran? We're gonna be purchasing lead testing kits.
Okay, I got you.
We'll wait for them in the front here.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Okay, operation 4704 employee training. This covers our water certification and New Mexico Water Wastewater Association schools. We're asking $10,000 for that.
And are we in the central or which area or division are we in?
We are central,
So, okay,
West Central.
that's where I got, okay, thank you.
And we don't have any representation, I don't think.
Need to find
We
some-
had one, the last one was Dave Anderson, but he's moved on. Okay, grants to subrecipients. 500. Postage,
Wait, insurance, you passed insurance?
Insurance is the contribution of Fund 603 based on a formula of what their fund costs are for that particular department. And then it's allocated among the general fund and the utilities based upon percentages of revenues.
Thank you, Patty.
And it's a very dynamic number until everybody stops changing their minds. So it will be modified slightly because we're making a couple changes in 603.
okay, 4707 are postage and mail services. 500. 4708 printing and publishing. We are asking 5,000 or 9,000, 4,000 for our consumer confidence report. And 5,000 for InfoSend, for our lead and copper.
Consumer confidence report.
We sent it in and the state made a mistake on it, so we had to get get them to change it and approve it again. So today, Brian was in contact with our publishers, so they should be publishing it here soon. But we've already sent out the CCR to our outside customers like Gamerco and NTUA.
Yeah, right, because they're gonna need it.
So if we don't,
Um,
we'll be in violation.
And so Jan, with InfoSend, is that a lead and copper issue or is that is that just overall water?
InfoSend is a lead and copper issue.
Let's go ahead and move it over, just because that's something we wouldn't have.
You know, we can use it for overall water.
We can? Okay.
Yeah,
But if you have a specific item that's the lead and copper, then make sure it goes on the grant.
okay. Okay, 4712 rent of equipment and machinery has our chlorine tanks. And our fleet replacement. Capital costs, 50,000, various equipment rental. You know, in case we have one of our backhoes breaks down or we need to rent a man lift like we're having to for our tank inspections. Things of that nature, pumps. Mhm. And Xerox rental. 5,000 seems a little high from what I've heard from previous.
Those truck leases seem awfully high.
The first year we pay for the upfit part of it. for and they're all, service lines.
Okay, well, we already had it in the capital. What does that mean?
It's rolled in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the way it should be presented versus what we had to do last time due to timing of getting everybody together and coordinated. You're now seeing the better version of what we want to do.
Okay, so,
So Xerox at 5,000, what did everybody else use?
It,
2,700 or?
it-
I think it can go down a little bit.
Okay.
Probably 3,000,
okay,
3,000.
3,000.
got it. All right, subscriptions?
You meant rental of land and building?
rental of land and building, 4,000. I think we're paying on, some property out on the north side of Yatahe. Right, yeah, and that one too. So.
We have an ongoing payment with them, Jackie?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's nice to know. It's nice to know after 30 years.
Second, Third Street, Judd.
For a lifetime. We should-
Thank you. Go to the,
Yeah. 4714 subscription and dues, we're asking 10,000 for American Water Works AWWA memberships for 2 people.
so Arizona Water is Wednesday and Thursday. Anybody going?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, we have to fix our PRV station first.
Oh, okay. Before you can afford, next year then.
Yeah. Okay, 4715 operating cost for telephone, 50,000. 4716 are utilities, we're asking 350,000. We have 95,000 left. And with the bad debt, 20,000
So that utilities is
electric.
what you're paying for the, God, that went way down and we are paying the crisp rate, right? That's the 2 cent.
Understand.
That's the crisp rate that now that we got at 35.
Well, this covers everything. This covers any gas they have, their electric, the water.
But it went down substantially when, after we got the crisp rate. It's the
Mhm.
Colorado River Storage Project.
I hold that thought.
Okay. Okay.
It will
So-
change in the upcoming year, based on the recommendation we think we're gonna bring forward on water.
So we're gonna stay at 350.
Okay.
For now.
It used to be like 750, wasn't it? The electrical costs?
Oh.
5 years ago?
Something changed drastically on that, yeah,
It was-
and we've also gotten better at allocating each one to their own.
Okay.
Their own accounts to where they're mapped better, and we continually monitor and update those when we find one that's not right under the right fund or the right department. And we're fixing on the fly as we identify them. We have 200 and, I want to say about 230 utility accounts within the city that belong to city departments.
And that is the conclusion of this.
And their transferred shared services is 640.
That's a percentage of his revenue that goes directly to the general fund to help cover
What was electrics?
support service. Electrics was the one I had fat fingered last week,
Okay,
and
that's right.
it's a little over $2 million.
2 million. Okay.
What's the total expenses for the year?
Total expenses, you got me.
For shared services.
For water, as of the start of this session, we were at 8.226 million. And we modified it a little bit, but not significant.
What was it? That was for this fiscal year? What was it for last fiscal year? Just out of curiosity.
That I don't have with me.
Is it
We have
compared?
25. 25 is it, what would?
It's lower in the year we're working in now because he's got more capital in here for the upcoming year than we did for the year we're in.
Okay, and more grant funding that will cover some of the cost, right?
Yeah, we pulled out a little bit here that we're gonna specifically, the lead and copper items, we're gonna specifically try to get those onto that grant. And then the other grants that they receive, we budget those under your capital project funds, which are the 300 series
And this,
mostly.
But yeah, I mean, I understand. I'm just saying like, but does it seem like from this coming up fiscal year that we're reviewing right now compared to the current fiscal year we're in, we have received more funding for capital projects and than we did before? Or no, I just can't remember.
Mostly in wastewater is where we've seen the biggest increase right now. And then we've done some loans and stuff this year. I think we had 3 overall this year that we've initiated that are loan and or grant.
Yeah, I guess that's showing wastewater. We got the 16 million now, right? The wastewater plans to. For the plan, so that might be for capital, yeah.
Yeah, and that won't be part of this operational.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just
Yeah,
trying
the
to
plan.
get a feel for all the different funding, like
If it-
courses and where it's going to.
The 8.2, was that budget or was that 25?
For the year we're looking at now that we're proposing, it's just over 8.2 million
That's 26 then.
for 26, for 27,
This coming.
and
for the upcoming year.
Okay.
what was the
A
FY
budget,
25
okay.
actual? I think that, what was the FY 25 actual?
Yeah, that's what I was looking
That's,
for.
if you just go up, Patty.
It doesn't give it to me on this screen, but
think
if
it
you bear
does.
with me a couple seconds, I
thought
have
I
that
saw it.
for you.
7.2.
I saw 7.2.
Hmm.
Oh, maybe that would, oh, yeah, that should have been.
We spent 6.2 in fiscal year 24. We're proposing with a little bit of change, 8.2 for the new year.
Okay, and that was 24, we had.
25, I said that incorrectly.
25, okay.
I don't include fiscal 26 in here because it changes every day. It's too dynamic and we don't necessarily spend really equally the first half of the year and the second half of the year. So we went with the 25 actuals to kind of give you something to compare it to.
That we were budgeting 7.4 million in income. Was that budget or was that 25?
For 25, we obtained 7.3 million. That's what we were able
7.3.
to gain. And for 27, we proposed 7.5 million.
Okay. 25, you're in the black.
So there is a difference of 8.2 minus 7.5 or 700,000.
Mhm.
So now that capital is rolled in, what are we spending on the smart meters?
That was 750,000. Or you asking Jan or asking the book?
I'm asking anybody.
Anybody will answer the question? It looks like our smart meters,
They were labeled smart. I could look it up.
they're
They are not.
Jan, what did you, we had that in the water distribution system improvements.
800, some.
But we already have that money in 306-6063-44.48 through 99.
Right.
Apparently, we already had that, like $900,000 already budgeted.
Right.
And
we-
we've been using that account for,
Alicia, what did that amount get changed to?
Then my question, as you're looking for that, is this gonna get us 100% of our meters done?
you, correct. I think that's what the discussion was. We're short on complete closeout of all those obsolete meters. And we were asking for money to purchase meters for that.
You can get them all in next year.
If we can get it,
That, fire hydrants, valves, but you can hire people,
oh yeah.
right? And then what,
Equipment cost at
two net replaceable? And
600,000 just in case for.
installation. So you can hire a contractor to get
Right.
those in. And that, we talked about that. That's the two net residential water meter replacements
Yes,
line item. If I remember, they have to install them, don't they, and calibrate them? Doesn't
no, they
you can be-
already come from factory calibrated.
Okay,
So we just drop them in and TuneNet starts doing its job.
so if it doesn't talk to the meter, the electrical meter, then
Mhm.
that's when someone will come dispatch out and fix it?
Yes,
Cause you can't fix that.
All we do is just replace it,
Just
you
replace
know,
it.
or if there's wires cut, we can repair that, but
Okay.
it's all, everything's all one piece.
Right, no, I wouldn't expect you guys to know how to do that. I mean,
That's just a priority on getting rid of that obsolete rating system.
yes,
Right.
the sooner the better. Keep track.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Down my list says I finally cheat sheet. Which has taken a leave of absence. Okay, the next one that we've got on here is gonna be airport. Did I see somebody from airport? Yes, there she is.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council.
Christie.
To start off, we have charges for services, airport fees, hangar terminal, office space at 73,000. And we have one full-time employee at the airport grants and contracts manager. That's me. And first line item I have is travel. That's 4,950, and that's for all the NMML, which is the New Mexico Municipal Leagues, for airport grants manager meetings, other types of training such as the State Aviation Conference, the SCCAAE conference that is held mainly in Texas. So that's most of the travel that's needed for training for the airport services. And there's a new one, NAFTZ, which is the Foreign Trade Zone. So the cost that I have right now will still cover the NAFTZ training. Next line item, I have the ground roadways at 400. And that's to help take care of the wildlife management, some fencing repairs or lighting fixtures, to also buy snow salt. Next line item is the street marking. I had to decrease that a little bit to finance my Tri-West automatic gates for the airport. I have 2 gates. So I minimized that to 3,950. I put 1,050 into the 4,590 account to help cover that. That's the annual cost for that automatic gates. Next line item is professional services. I moved that down from 12,000 to 8,000, and that helps for paying the which I'll come up to, repairing jet on the stick is what you guys call it. It's the static display for the airport. Also to help pay for the fly-in entertainment. I had hired a band this past fly-in, and that was looked successful to me. This also pays for fuel leaks and spills, and also for IFEs. IFEs are independent fee estimates that are required for any of the FAA state grants or FAA funded projects. What the IFE is to they obtain the consultant's estimate, and this independent vendor, they estimate, go over their dollar amount and let them know that their price is higher. They need to lower it or such, and that's what the IFE is for. So that's paid out of our pocket, airport pocket upfront, and that's about 3,000 to 5,000 range. So. Next line item is other services, which I mentioned are for the electronic gates and to pay for the key cards. That there's only 1,050 in that for the annual fee. Next line item is the supplies account. That's 3,750. That's usually paying for the parking passes, any other office supply, copier paper, miscellaneous, and also help pay for the fly-in service, signs. If I do any t-shirts or awards, I'll use the funds from there. Next line item is non-cap furniture fixture equipment at 2,000. That helps pay for replacements of snow shovels, snow spreaders, shakers, ladders, any other computer chairs or anything of that nature. Yeah, that's it. Next line item, employee training, that helps pay for the cost of registration. uh, Hotel, just the registration fees. And as I mentioned in the travel, pays for the NMML, SCC, and other state aviation conferences that I attend to. Next line item is printing and publishing. I increased that by 200 within my own line item account, again, from my 4530 account. I placed 500 in there, and that's to help pay for any legal notices, bids, rebids, RFPs for the grants that I proposed for, and radio ads for the fly-in. Next line item is a rent of equipment. I use that in for aerial lifts to do maintenance work for any of the hangars that cable lines may have snapped. Also for the fly-in, renting portables and tent. So that was also increased within my line item budget. Next line is subscription and dues. That's to help pay for the annual fees for the memberships of NMML and SCC AAE and now the NAFTZ. So I have 750 in there. Next line is telephone, that pays for the services with Comcast. That helps support the computer at the airport, the desktop, the kiosk for the passengers to view Gallup's restaurants, hotels, hiking trails, and many other attractions. And looks like the last item, utilities, is at 20,000. Was for all the electric and gas that's used at the airport.
And then you
Yeah.
can see her capital item, her sweepers rolled in already.
Yeah. And that's it. Any questions?
Patty, can you go up to the first line items? Professional services. Go up. There was contractual professionals. Was there another
here.
contractual?
Only the 4590. Did I skip that? Other services?
No, it's 8,000. Okay.
Yeah.
7. Oh, no, yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. FY25, 3.5 million. That was for Armstrong. That was a grant. That was the grant. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and she's applying for the next year. Do it June 30th.
Yeah, it's June 30 for the 2027 race application for airline services.
How much is
Thank
in
you.
that?
I don't know until you apply. And then whatever proposal that I fit in, which I'm requesting for a larger aircraft, so that way it'll accommodate passengers and also their luggage, because people have been, you want to go with a couple bags luggage, and it just hasn't been working out for our passengers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to ask for a larger aircraft.
Like a 30 passenger kind of thing?
Yeah, if we go past that mark, it triggers off to have TSA over here and other restrictions. So we don't want to go beyond that.
Now, the user fee application was turned in,
So we could get.
Okay.
TSA.
so that's in Marshall and Miller's hands, so.
Great.
But a 30 passenger is like under the TSA threshold, right? Or is
Yeah, it
more?
depends. It really does depend. We're rural general aviation, so we don't have to have a TSA until they get to Phoenix. That's when
Yeah.
it triggers the TSA.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you lowered quite a bit of yours, only like one or two would increase, like utilities and things like that, but it looks like you've lowered quite a bit of your line items, so.
Yeah.
3.5 million to
Yeah,
1,000.
And just to note, we typically do not put the grant within the fund, but the airport is considered its own proprietary fund, and this is the only way it really works well for them. Their other capital stuff actually does go into Fund 308 to keep it separate, so it doesn't look as surprising when you look at the numbers. But for the most part, grants are kept out of operational funds.
Any other questions?
Great job,
Thank
Lisa.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Up next is the fitness center. I think Mr. Lonzo only has a couple more of these left and then he won't be up here presenting them any longer.
Um,
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, city family, fellow citizens. Fitness center. Our revenue, we're projecting about $250,000. I have 7 employees, 4 full-time, 1 supervisor, 2 rec coordinators, 1 maintainer, 3 part-time people. Our overtime, I'm asking, Patty, if you could, let's drop that to 3,000, please. There's nothing really that stands out in our budget unless the mayor and council has any questions regarding the fitness center budget. The only other one that we went up a little bit is on our maintenance equipment. We went from 10,000 to 15,000. Our equipment's getting a little old already. The last time we put in any new equipment in was pre-COVID. And we'll be due for some upgrades soon, I hope. But other than that, unless mayor and council has any questions regarding the fitness center.
I don't have any questions. Anybody? Pretty straightforward.
How's our equipment over there?
I'm sorry?
How's the equipment over
The
there?
equipment, well, like, our equipment is state of the art, but right now I do have 4 machines down. We're actually waiting for we're on contract with a company out of Albuquerque. As a matter of fact, I think I got 6 machines now. So we got a company that's waiting for it to come and get them fixed. They get a lot of wear and tear. We had to date for this fiscal, we had about 49,000 people in the building, so they get a lot of use. But hopefully they'll get here and work on them here pretty soon.
Are they the ellipticals and treadmills? Is that
I got 1 stepper, 4 treadmill, and I'm gonna look at my friend in the back, 1 elliptical. I think. Yeah. But
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, I know we don't really make a lot of money in the fitness center, but it would be nice, I think, if we upgraded some of that equipment, because I do have a lot of friends that go to the fitness center and it feels like equipment's breaking down pretty regularly. I mean, it's just the wear and tear, right? But it would be nice. I mean, because I think there's only like 5 treadmills, so 4 of them are down. That's pretty bad.
no, there's more than 5 treadmills, Counselor Panel, but the thing is that
But still,
we're real careful on how we spend our money there.
yeah.
Like you see, we don't make a lot of money, but being that we're an enterprise, we have to be real careful with our expenditures. So, like I said, we'll continue working at it. Hopefully one day we'll get into general fund.
I know, I want
I
to help you
think
guys
so.
out. Because you don't really ask for any money for this, and I feel like we don't want our equipment breaking down all the time, so I don't know how to make that happen, but they just have to take the money out of their own enterprise.
So right now, we did this shift a few years ago under the direction of Marianne Eustick when she was here. We moved it over as an enterprise fund to show that it was self-sustaining and could continue that way. If you want to increase his spending and move it back to general fund, I'll tell you a story when we're completed today about what we just went through to finish out the general fund budget, and then you can, not for this year, but for the future years, if you want to move it back, you'll understand what challenges that would create.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I honestly forgot that they were an enterprise fund. I just didn't realize that, honestly, so that's interesting, because I thought it was just water, wastewater, and electric that were enterprise funds, so that's interesting. They're the only other one besides those 3 that are separate, right?
Solid waste, airport.
El Moro someday.
El Moro someday.
Mayor, Councilor Piano, City Manager, I'm gonna get on my soapbox and I told myself I wouldn't, but I'm going to. Fitness Center, we're a little fish in a big pond. You know, if you compare us to the enterprise funds, they're talking multi-million-dollar revenue.
Right.
So myself, and I'm not gonna say it's an argument that I've had for years, it's a discussion I've had for years. I don't feel we're in the right place. You know,
You wish you
Or
were back to
but
general.
those are just my thoughts, so you'll hear that for 2 more years.
No, that's helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Mayor, Council.
Just so you can see, so his expenditures. If I could get the right. Sorry about that. He's a very small enterprise, as he said.
Yeah.
His prior year expenditures were only 329,000. He's requested at the start of today, he was at 426,000. And he does request every year to be moved back.
Yeah. It's just so hard because like we don't, I know it doesn't make a lot of money, but at the same time we have, I don't, we have different opinion on this fence as well. Not about you being moved back into general, but I don't think the city should operate a gym at all. I think that's a private venture, but whatever, I wasn't here years ago when this happened, so it is what it is. But so since we did decide to venture into owning a gym, you know, I think like people are going there and would be nice if we are supporting the community in that way to have equipment that we can get fixed. I mean, to say like, well, we don't have the money and it's like you're going there as like a family or customer and you're paying and then you have broken down equipment. That's kind of crummy. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna do it, might as well make it nice, right? I mean, but I get the money part too. And you know, all people, I'm always trying to save the money, but I'm also like, I don't want to go to a gym where half my equipment's broken down all the time. That's crappy. So just throwing it out there. So I don't know how we fix that.
So this is a good moment to go ahead and segue into the discussion about general fund. We got together as a team with everybody that's now under the general fund and the 603 fund, some of the utilities. We got together last week to work on our funding. We were short about $2 million in being able to afford what we have because our cash balances ended up being lower than anticipated as I closed out the quarter. And you'll see that on tonight's agenda. We've got, as of right now, we got it down to $6.4 million on loan to cover shortages for grant reimbursements that we have not yet received. We've expended the money, but we haven't received it. So under DFA rules, we cannot have a fund in the negative. So that limited what we could do. We fought long and hard to balance it's not even a balanced budget, but to be able to afford with the cash there to get it down to where there is going to be an estimated balance of maybe $800,000 left. But as you know, when we get here in July, you'll have somebody standing here going, I forgot to budget something, or there's this opportunity, or something broke. And so we do need some working room to work with. In order to accomplish that, we made some big changes. We took 2 positions from fire and unfunded them. They were positions that the chief willingly gave up that had been vacant for more than a year. And he was, go ahead.
Well, one of those wasn't the fire marshal, was it?
Yes, ma'am.
We removed the we have to have a fire marshal. Like we have.
He's got the work covered.
Yeah, but
it's already been covered for more than a year without that specific position being there. The services and the everything that needs to be
okay,
done.
look, I'm gonna say for the record, as a city councilor, I disapprove of this. It's fine, you can do what you want, but I'm stating for the record, Councilor Piano disapproves of this because I understand the budget, but when you remove the fire marshal and you say, well, it's being covered because the chief is doing it. So we're basically saying, okay, it's being covered because, you know, it's like, this is your job and we're adding a second job to you. So now you're doing 2 jobs. So it's being covered. Yeah, sure. It's being covered because he's doing the extra work. That is insane. As a person that just lives in society and has a day job, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to cut a position and say, Sarah Piano, now you're 2 positions because we couldn't find another position. I am saying,
can I finish the dollars before you, because
Yes.
you're not going to like the rest of this.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to this is not meant to be confrontational. This is
No, I
meant to
know.
be informational.
Tell me how to feel.
And if you guys want to direct this different, then you will have to tell us where or what services we will be cutting or what other positions. We only looked at vacancies. We did not look to do a reduction in force of filled positions. So in light of that, we took PSOs from 15 funded positions down to 10. They consistently are able to fill 10 and they have a lot of turnover. I think they did exceed 10 at one point. They had 11, but we just can't get past the 10 in general. Sworn officers, they're not fully eliminated, but we're unfunding 6 positions. I can show you for the last 3 years, they have had anywhere from 12 to 14 positions vacant in each of the 3 years. Currently, they're at 16. I think that we just signed off on one today, but we are going to pull 6 of those from funding.
And I want to emphasize, because this is the rumor already. We like to do the coffee shop talk. We're not funding them. We're not cutting them. We're not funding them at this time. What happens is when we fund all these positions, and we're looking at like $2 million, which was just mentioned, we don't fund them. And at the end of the year, money's not used. That carries into our vehicle and building fund, which is kind of flush right now. Instead of carrying that money all the year round without using it, let's allocate that money to be used now. God help us. If they come in and say, hey, we got 13 guys to hire, men and women to hire today as certified police officers, we'll be standing right here in front of council saying, we need this extra money, and we'll be doing a budget transfer. So we are not cutting police positions, not cutting. We're just not funding them in the current budget so we can allocate that money to actually be used. And that's the rumor that somehow has already gotten there for administration that is promoting safer streets. They're cutting law enforcement. Not true. So that portion of the protest tonight, cross the X through your sign. We're not cutting those positions. We're just using the money effectively today. And then if needing it, fund it tomorrow.
Yeah, that was explained at the work session that we had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
So that's
unfortunately, I don't know where it got out, but it got out that we're cutting like 14, 15 positions from law enforcement and not going to do the job.
Point out too, that we are moving to a higher tech response with drones and cameras and things is what, and we do have that budgeted.
Yes.
And unfortunately in the United States today, everybody's moving more to a sort of electronics and technology in all law enforcement and fire protection.
And
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question? This is Councilor Yazzie online. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hi, sounding like you all have already decided where the 2 million is going to be cut from the general fund. I haven't heard about anything since the last meeting. I was under the impression that we were going to be discussing that as a council before anything happened. Can you
still has to
clarify
come
when
to
that
you.
was decided?
It still has to come to you, man.
Okay, but have changes were made since our last work session to the budget that we reviewed?
So typically when we do the budget, and that's what I mentioned earlier about this one is actually representative of everything being in here and how we want to do it. This year, things just didn't come together. It's been kind of a train wreck because there's so many priorities, so many things going on, so many balls in the air, new departments, new people. So a lot of excuses, a lot of reasons. Bottom line is, normally before we do that first work session with you, we've already had the session we just had Thursday and hammered this all out. But in the same time, we had this done until we had to move more money out of general fund for the unreimbursed amounts for grants.
Yeah.
And that was a surprise. It was just something I didn't see until we got everybody's reports together. All the things started coming together. We had to pull money out. We had it all covered. We didn't anticipate needing to do anything further other than work with you and then get your approval on it at what'll be the next council's meeting in 2 weeks. So it was a dynamic situation, and So we went through and what we did was within our own departments, we worked together to come up with all the changes we needed to make it work. Because we don't typically sit here and ask you to find $100,000 to cut. Now, we do get up here and you find different priorities, and if you want them in there, we'll take care of them, but we have to make sure the funding is there.
And
Okay,
with
I
that, Betty,
understand.
just to make, or go ahead, Sarah.
I understand. So I'm just curious about like what, if we can maybe get a summary of which things were changed from what we heard, or where I would just like to see that list or know what those changes were, if possible. But it sounds like there might be a lot. I understand it may be a lot. I just feel like I'm a little out of the loop now on where we currently are.
So the big items, that's what I was just hitting on right now. And then I'll go over a few of the other ones right now as well. In addition to that, the one that we took out of the city manager's budget, and it's for a multitude of reasons, is the grants to subrecipients, which is funding that we award to not-for-profit entities. There's a couple discussions on this, is that we're at a point to where, do we cut other services to keep funding that, or do we hold back on that while we develop it for a year? Because we're really in kind of a turmoil with it, trying to get it down to where we have a good application process, a good vetting process. We make sure they are truly a not-for-profit recognized by the IRS, because the last presentations we had, I was online looking at them, and one of them that was here that night had their not-for-profit status pulled about a month prior to the meeting. So they knew of it apparently, but they didn't, they still were going forward for the funding. So we're trying to get that worked out to make it to where it is proper, it is fair, because there could be an argument made if we're giving money and they are not a not-for-profit, if we award them that award, that could be an anti-donation violation. So we do want to work on that, and that is one I want to make sure you guys were aware of. In addition to that, we took out, we did get we took out some laptops, we took out some furnishings, a lot of overtime. We had a lot of departments. We talked about how to do more strategic scheduling, because just because you work late tonight, Tuesday night, if you're hourly, that doesn't mean I'm going to end up having to pay you for 45 hours a week. It does mean I have an opportunity, depending on our workload, that maybe I let you go early on Friday, or I let you come in later tomorrow, or, you know, we don't have to guarantee, especially if you end up working a 12, 14-hour day, it might be in my best interest to let you come in at noon tomorrow so that you're fresh. You're out on the line, you're going to climb a pole, you're going to do whatever. You know, we do want to make sure we're taking advantage of that and not forcing these guys to work a long shift and then come back right away for their next regular scheduled shift. So we are going to try to be a little more aware of that and work with that. We took out one item, it was a cold room for IT, and I think we've got that all worked out, but we took out that funding because it was going to be excess funding. We took out a lot of travel and training to a point of still recognizing certifications and needed training, but maybe took out some of the more ideal training or the things that we just hadn't developed yet enough to move forward with. Because those are areas that we discussed among ourselves. Some of them are like, well, we'll just take everybody's training. It's like, well, we can't quite do that, but we could get a little more strategic and hold back for a year on some of those. We took out, we moved one capital item that was for the airport, that was a structural item for a hangar, and we put it into that building and renewal and replacement fund rather than under the airport funding, which comes from general fund. So that was just a strategic change. It wasn't a reduction of what they were getting awarded.
What was the amount?
$180,000. And the building renewal and replacement fund is pretty healthy right now. We don't want to run it down to nothing because there are opportunities to come up and things we'll need to do. But this one fit perfectly within the realm of what that fund is for. So we were able to shift that. Let's see. We looked at most of the Xerox copiers and adjusted those to what seemed to be the appropriate funding. We did have a few people give up capital items. A couple IT, I think, gave up 4 items that they're going to push off a year that were server and printer related. And the police, we pushed off a year on their 3D scanner. I'm calling it wrong. It was a scanner for crime scenes.
For the Leica.
Right, so we're pushed that back a year to try and make things fit together better. It was really a great group effort. It was everybody doing small concessions, being a little more realistic with things. We had $9,000 in computers that we were able to move to the fire fund. So out of general fund and fire fund didn't mean he doesn't use computers, but it does mean we get to use different funding for it, which gave us some relief.
And I want to stress, all the cuts they brought forward, we had good discussions they brought forward, including Chief Barrett stating, let's hold off on the marshal, I can do it. We didn't dictate to him he's going to do it.
Right.
This wasn't John, you do multiple. He actually brought it forward. Let's put these two positions on hold. We can cover it. I'd like to see him more with the life.
I mean, that's nice that he's sacrificing himself, but like, that's not ideal. That's how you get burnout employees that quit. I'm advocating for him. If he's not gonna advocate for himself, I'm gonna advocate for him, because I think that all the decisions you made, I understand, and they were hard decisions. I want to acknowledge that. Doing the budget is immense work, so I want to acknowledge that, Patty. I'm not underestimating that in any way, but I don't want it to be a situation where I understand that we're not cutting positions, we're just unfunding Kurt, I get all that. I just feel strong with the fire marshal because it's been there and that was a whole separate position, and that's so nice of Chief Parrott to say, but I mean, that's a lot, and I've seen him working crazy hours, and I just want to be cognizant of being careful about putting too much work on any one employee. Like, that's two jobs. That's not just like do a little extra. That's like putting a whole extra job on a person. And I've seen that be very detrimental long-term for companies. So I just want to kind of have that on the radar.
So I need to carry this one step further. We do have an option in 2 weeks. If you want us to start early again and have all the departments give them each a 5-minute rundown of their stuff, you'll have reports this time, and they're gonna look like this. You can have an Excel format if you're an Excel person, would prefer to play with them, but I'll make a PDF as well, so you can have one that's printed out that it has a solid formatting, so you can't make any errors on it or lose a page or anything there. But it's really hard to look at this and get a grasp of everything, to be honest. It's a lot of lines. It's about $170 million in budget. We've got, I told you already, about 80 active funds. There's a lot here. We've worked really hard to make it affordable, but what I need you to understand is this budget, as it stood before we did anything today, our revenues for general fund are 44 million. Our expenditures are 50. Next year is going to be a bigger challenge. And I mentioned this to the mayor in passing, that we're really fighting hard to get additional money in for all these grants and different things like that. But they're all reimbursement based, about 95 to 98% of them reimbursement based. We are reaching our limit of how much cash we can have expended and still cover those funds while we wait for the reimbursements to come in.
And Patty, and with that, I think we just need to make sure that all of our grant people are aware that monthly, we'll just get our reimbursements in monthly. I know that in some cases we didn't get them in time, maybe quarterly, knowing that, but I think if we get monthly reimbursements in, we could probably catch up pretty quick on that.
And I have mentioned that to our new grant coordinator and Alicia, does a huge.
And then just the question, if we do start getting the reimbursements quicker, does that mean it frees up more money after this budget session? When that money comes in, is that gonna add to the budget or the income?
Well, it would adjust our cash basis.
Our
Then.
cash
So
basis,
if we
okay.
can show, we've been kind of in this position for the last 12 months, 24 months, to where we keep kind of falling short on the cash reimbursement.
Because of the payments and the.
Yeah, just because we're waiting on some of that money to come in. We're also working to clean up a bunch of old grants that have just kind of been sitting there, and we'll come back with a presentation. Keegan and I were emailing on that today. There's a few of them that we didn't get all of our reimbursements back for a variety of reasons.
Right.
But we do need to clean them up, and that money will move over there permanently with the transfer. But I did tell, Chief, and DC for police, we put $400,000 into contingency in a wage line that we could transfer into that department. Should we be fortunate enough to fill their existing vacancies of 6 to 8 and have the opportunity to exceed that? We could easily quickly transfer a couple of those positions on the fly. And that was kind of the promise in some of the discussion we had, to give them some assurance that they're not totally blocked in the corner. But if they're fortunate enough to go beyond that, then we'll be back before you asking for the money, if we can find it, to put into there.
And we might be able, with the police department, with the academy coming into the UNM here in Gallup, I really truly believe, because in the past, that's what happened, we would get more police officers here, so it might happen.
And we're hoping, and if they can start second semester next year, we should have graduates coming this time next year, which will be in the next year's budget when we hire. I also wanted to speak on the charitable, where we're still leaving in the ones that are non-cash, just the building only type.
The in-kind.
Type 1, the in-kind. But any charitable organizations that want cash, we have a lot of our discretionary funds that are carried over each year. And instead of carrying over, we're asking you to use those on potential. Oh, yes, very, very well. But we had others that when they're getting ready to leave office are trying to burn through $100,000, and those can be given to those charitable groups to work that. Again, as long as we can prove that they're charitable and using it to give the city a service.
And that, we can take that offline, but I think should have a separate conversation with us about, or one-on-one about how we can use our discretionary funds. Cause I think when I came into office, it was very specific. And there were certain things I wanted to use it for. And I was told like pretty specifically, like it's gotta be used for like stop signs, speed humps for petitions, like electric light, things that were outside the budget. And so like, if we have more discretion with our discretionary funds, that would be great. But I was told like pretty specifically how I could use it. So we just want to be careful about how we.
I'll set up a training.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah, training would be great. Cool.
Awesome. Okay, now that I gave you guys all the gloom and doom, I was gonna start off with that, and I decided it was more fun just to go through the first few presentations.
Thank you, Patty.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to risk management. We have 603, 10, 16. Well, let's look at the 603 in general. I don't know who's gonna discuss their revenues real quick, or how their revenue works.
We get money from everybody else.
That's it. So this is the insurance transfer.
General fund gives us a little, electric gives us a little, water gives us a little. I mean, we literally get money from everybody else for 603. I did want to go through everything line by line, but we'll go through the big ones. As you can see, full-time positions went down quite a bit. We only currently have one full-time employee in risk management.
Is that a by choice?
Way.
Is that a by choice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we just have only the risks and benefits. What is her actual title?
Ben Welsh was the other position, and we moved that position. We didn't reduce the FTEs at all.
Yeah. Speaking of, the only other large thing is gonna be the contractual services. And that is because of the increase of the 250,000 that we do for the events. So like the tents for the Run for the Wall and all of that stuff used to be paid out of the city manager's department, and now it's being paid out of the 603-1016 account.
This is a line item that Ben Welch fought for years and was funded last year. And it was used for a lot of the stand down event, the Run for the Wall, and numerous different focused events that the city itself puts on, not others. And it was something, we didn't feel it was a true lodger's tax type, so we didn't want to pay for it out of lodger's tax. It wasn't something where we're saying we're bringing people in, even though Run for the Wall is one event we haven't looked at that the one run does stay here overnight. One goes through Gallup, doesn't even get off on 66, just zoom down I-40 and stops in Jamestown for fuel and then goes to Milan to eat. The other one parades through downtown, stops at Red Rock Park. We have the gourd dance. We have the blessing of the bikes. We have some very nice ceremonies. Next morning, they eat at the theaters. We get a burrito at the theaters, and then Chief does a wonderful thing with the flag. Bill Lee put his balloon up last year, and the bikers from all over the world just were in awe of what Gallup did. They said other towns don't do that for him, and so, but those are heads in beds. They are spending the night in our motels, that whole leg, several hundred guys and gals, 700 bikers, let's put it that way, several hundred bikers. So, this is a real valuable line item to ensure that those events continue. And I honestly think they're beneficial to Gallup, and they show what our citizens stand for.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. The mosquitoes is under vector weed control.
Yes. That's the mosquito dude.
Do we still go out to bid for that?
Yes, I believe it's this coming year, Fran. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, and yes, we are looking to put that out for RFP.
For this coming fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, now.
And it's chemical based, right? Or does it matter? It's insecticides.
I'm not sure. The way the guy explained it to me, I'm not an insect expert, but apparently they go in the little jet tunnel thing and it neuters them and then they can't reproduce.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we better.
That's
We
the way
we
he
might want to look
explained
at
it to me.
insecticides.
I thought they sprayed.
I believe it is,
Chemical
Hurt.
sterilizes them or something.
because he has to be licensed with the state and everything, so,
It's
it is chemical based.
Okay.
Yeah, because you see them going around the neighborhoods and spraying that stuff. I mean, yeah, my understanding is I'm a big fan of keeping things local if people do apply for RFP, but my understanding is the company we currently use is out of Albuquerque. I don't know if that's true. And so I mean, if someone could do it locally, I would just love to keep that money local.
Again, we
Yeah.
do the competitive process. We follow that. And I'm gonna say another problem we have is a lot of standing water in town that
Yeah.
we're starting to address and tackle. The current person did come in and meet with me. If you want to see the new breed of mosquito coming towards us, the little doll or whatever is on my desk. There's a new breed of mosquito coming in. It's made it as far as Grants, north and west. Hasn't made it to Gallup yet. They're anticipating this year. Our typical mosquito we've always had in Gallup carries 5 to 6 diseases. The new one carries 26.
Well,
It's
that's good news.
It's a day biter. Our other mosquitoes usually came out at dusk or dawn and you got bit. These are day biters. So it's going to be a very important thing that we go into this year.
There's
Now
enough,
that you're on.
there's enough money there though to cover it. That's what I want to make sure is we have enough money.
Hopefully. Miss Sarah, just to let you know, we did have some interest from local providers. However, they didn't have the adequate licensing. I'm hoping that this time around they do. And so they'll be able to participate if they choose to in that process.
Okay, awesome.
I have a question. So one of my concerns, of course, is the homeless camps that we have. We have a lot of water that's still there in the camps and everything. And with the 26 new diseases coming up, how are we going to handle that? Because that looks like it's going to be an epidemic if we don't handle that.
We're going to have to target going by those areas spraying.
We'll be able to do that. Budget-wise?
Yeah, we already hit end of Gallup. So, we go through those areas. So
Any other questions? Risk management? Thanks.
Marcus wants to play too.
I'm only requesting $1 million.
Done.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council, staff. So as you're aware, the Human Resources Department is a non-revenue generating department. So we rely on the generosity of the general fund and all the enterprises to conduct our daily business. As such, we made every possible attempt to ensure we balanced our budget as close to actuals as possible. It's very difficult to do considering we're dealing with human behavior. So more often than not, our professional services, which we usually fund our investigations out of, our bargaining and negotiations and arbitration out of, it's very hard to pinpoint that year to year. You know, some years the workforce does amazing and we don't have to engage in any of those services. Others I have, you know, several investigations going on simultaneously. So what we did was realistically tried to reduce a lot of our budget requests to what we spend actually in fiscal year 2025 and forecasted that against what we requested in 26. So we made a few reductions and I'll do the same as everybody else. We currently have 5 FTEs in the Human Resources Department. Myself, our Human Resources Manager, our Risk and HR Administrator, 2 HR technicians who make up the Human Resources Department. So of those 5, we do pretty good about balancing our schedule. So we have no overtime request. We did make a request for the tuition reimbursement. As you recall, last year, this was a budgeted item that that I neglected to put in the budget. We did bring that down. Originally, we had requested 7,500. We reduced that to 2,500 since we currently only have 2 people utilizing that program. Now, again, you know, if future participation ramps up, we'll address that at that time. However, I feel that reduction would be sufficient enough to cover those expenses. If we move on down to travel, 4310, we kept that pretty consistent. Typically, we attend a public relations, employee and labor relations conference, or some other type of human resources related conference throughout the year. My goal, and you'll see that in our training line, but I'll mention it now, is my goal is to ensure that my staff receive some sort of continuing education and some sort of specialty certification so that the information coming out of the Human Resources Department can be relied upon. So that includes minimal travel, and a large part of that travel will be in state. That's the goal. We don't have any property, so we'll move on down to our professional services line. Out of professional services, which is 45, we'll start with 4530. That is the line where we take out arbitration services, collective bargaining, negotiations, and labor relations. This year, we opted to change up the strategy for our labor relations and our bargaining negotiation. And we're going to attempt to reduce our reliance on external services and bring a majority of that internal within in-house counsel and with the Human Resources Department's expertise in labor relations. So we're able to reduce that cost by almost half, and we're requesting 29,000. Yeah, 29,000. The investigations was another where we reduced. We had a very great year this year where the workforce was on their best behavior. So we had minimal investigations. That's one area that I would also like to shift to an internal service and certify a member of my team to be able to conduct internal investigations. So then again, we're not relying on external services. But in order to do that, I have to strike a balance between how I use external services and who I decide to send to training to achieve that certification. And that's something we're going to attempt to do over across the next 2 years. So I'll move on if you don't have any questions for our professional services line. On to line 4540, which is other contractual services. In that line item, we typically pay for our employee assistance program, which is a counseling-based service provided free of charge to employees and their families, as well as our investigations, our background checks, and our electronic annual fees. A lot of our personnel files are electronic based. So in order to maintain that, we have to lease the equipment, lease the service, and that's what the PDS annual fee and maintenance are. And that total came out to about 14,000. If there are no questions there, we'll move on to 4590, which is other services. This is the line where we expense our admin professional day and our employee recognition event. This year, we shifted our admin professional day from the human resources line to the city manager's line. And the city manager and his staff are going to be spearheading that effort next year. We kept the employee recognition event budget request consistent with last year. This one was a difficult one to try to utilize actuals for, simply because outgoing councilor and mayor opted to cover a large part of the expense in appreciation for the employees. So we have a little carryover in that line due to that. However, we won't have that generosity to rely upon this year. So we budgeted the same amount. And we're hoping that we can have a phenomenal event for our employees to recognize their public service at the end of the year. If you don't have any questions for that, bless you. If you don't have any questions for that, we'll move on to.
I'd like to give a comment on that.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful program this year. Matilda, Tasha, yourself, the whole group that put that on. I've had a lot of employees reach out, tell me that the trainings were fabulous from all the different groups you brought in, the food through SFE, the barbecue was excellent. The venue was great at Red Rock Park, and just a lot of employees says it's remotivated them, and they've been thanking me, and I can't say, yeah, me, it was you all. And so I'd like to correct how it's been shifted to the city manager and staff doing a lot more creative than me and a lot harder workers.
Thank you, sir. And absolutely, I echo the same sentiment. You know, it was definitely a team effort. Natasha and all of the support staff really came together, you know, and really provided an outstanding event. So if there are no questions, we'll move on to supplies. We increased this, I believe, this year for office supplies and service awards. We increased the office supplies to purchase standalone scanners. Because we have 2 scanners. And in speaking with Director Bigay, the IT department, she says we could use an external scanner so that we could use to scan into our personnel files. That it doesn't have to be a scanner purchased from that company. Because that requires the lease. They come in and they maintenance that scanner every, I think it's every quarter. It's pretty expensive. And she said, you know, a workaround that would be to purchase a standalone scanner that we could scan directly into, and they'll allow an API for that.
So you just scan the thumb drive and then?
So no, so those scanners are dedicated to that program. So
Okay.
you put it in, load the document in the scanner, and it scans it into our document database for personnel files. Yeah. And we left the service awards for the admin day events flat. Typically, if there's an overage there, I cover it out of our office supply line. And again, it's contingent upon the number of awardees we have and the type of awards. Myself and Director Rodriguez have made a conscientious effort to kind of standardize those awards so that, you know, we can reasonably predict the cost of them across time with minor adjustments and inflation. So if there's no questions about that, we'll move on to our non-cap. Last year, I had a capital request for a laptop for our manager. We're going to work a different approach to that with the assistance of Director Begay and the IT department. And we're able to purchase furniture for our staff. So that came down. So you can see that that's why there's a big difference in there. And Patty, you can go ahead and remove the PDS scanner for the additional users, because that's where Director Begay said she was going to see if we can find something cheaper.
Okay.
Uniforms remained the same. Actually, no, there was a minor increase. And that's the named polos that city employees receive on a yearly basis. And then that's a cost that was provided to us by the purchasing department. If you don't have any questions, we'll move on to 4704, which is our employee training line. As mentioned before, you're going to see a substantial increase in this area simply because I'm making an effort to, again, get my staff certified or specialized in a certain area. So each of them should have a specialty certification or become subject matter experts in one area of human resources or risk management.
That's like a 200% increase.
Yes. And then just for perspective, Counselor Piano, a certification in human resources on the low end is about $1,500 per person. If I wanted to get them certified as a generalist, that cost, you know, rises pretty substantially in and around the tune of $45,000 to $6,000. And then they have to maintain continuing education credits across time to maintain that certification. So again, it's a big increase, but I think, you know, we reduced in other areas to accommodate that, and I think it's going to be to the city's advantage and to the workforce's advantage. If there were no questions about that, we'll move on to postage. Postage we kept at $50. Occasionally, I have to send out a certified letter or overnight letter regarding investigations if I engage in an investigation. Printing and publishing increased. If you go back to actuals, I think the previous we spent about 2,000. I'm asking for 2,000 additional, and that is because of the job postings that we're currently engaged in. We're now engaged in a larger recruitment effort, and on average, you know, just for perspective, a single job advertised in 4 states costs us about $600 per job. So we have to be strategic about, you know, how we extend our recruitment and for what positions we're extending that grade. And of course, that cost increases once I expand to the region or if I go nationally. And that's just anticipation for having to cover some of the more difficult to fill positions that are currently being advertised. Subscriptions and dues, if we can continue on here. I'm sorry, the rental equipment, we adjusted that cost in accordance to the recommendation by the purchasing department. And that's for our Xerox machine in the human resources department. Our last line is going to be 4714, which is subscriptions and dues. That increased to $5,000 is what our request is. And a lot of that is going to be the subscription dues for the Society of Human Resources Management. But I've also included in that cost, and I should have broke it down, but at the time we didn't have membership, but we're able to get membership to the Society of the Public Sector Human Resources Association. It's a human resources association, a national association geared towards just the public sector. You know, one of the interesting things that I discovered is, you know, human resources, while universally applicable to all industries, a large majority of that is geared to the private sector. You know, so finding a public sector organization was really neat because it focuses on some of the intricacies that we experience in local government. So staff is really excited about that. They've been using it as a tremendous resource since we've obtained that membership. So again, those memberships and dues are just opportunities for staff to continue maintaining their professional development and their continuing education credits. More so once they become certified in a specialty. So in a nutshell, that wraps up the human resources budget. I stand for any questions.
2 questions, Mayor.
Sure.
So Marcus, the society HR group that you're a member of, part of, what does that do exactly? It's like it's not like a subscription, it's not like a subscription, like a magazine. It's like you're a member of like almost like a Rotary Club type thing, but it's like a club or?
So the Society of Human, so there's 2 bodies in the United States that are certifying bodies. The Society of Human Resources Management provides all of the knowledge-based certifications for the industry across actually it's a global organization.
So you can only get certified if you're part of this group? Or?
Yes. It's kind of, and they have it industry specific for a lot of things. You know, there's some specific to city managers and county managers. It's you know, a great number of the industries have professional organizations that spearhead and set that bar for knowledge and testing of that knowledge. You know, so there's the Society of Human Resources Management, and then there's a Human Resources Certification Institute. I've been a member of I've been certified actually out of SHRM for a great majority of my HR career, and recently renewed that certification a couple years ago. And it's something that speaks to the department, or the certificate holder's knowledge in industry, in the industry. So we are subject matter experts. I'm certified as a generalist, which means I have a foundational understanding of all human resources practices of the 7 fields within human resources. So it allows us, again, access to that information. It allows us access to their educational component, which is the webinars, the seminars, some of the white papers, you know, so it allows for continuing education.
And Marcus too, these organizations also lobby, and they provide almost immediate interpretations of new laws. So you don't have to go out there digging up. So they do provide a good service. You know, we have American Society of Civil Engineers and Surveyors and everything.
Well, we get the foreign trade, the North American Foreign Trade Zone. I'm a member of that, so that we can have associate members who have the others going for discounts on the training and stuff. International City Managers Association. There's a ton of them.
And they're very important.
Even you consider the New Mexico Municipal League having their subgroups.
So.
And then my second question is kind of more for, not just for you, but a general question too for Patty. That I just keep hearing coming up. I am getting confused. So you mentioned about early on about like, we were talking about overtime, but I thought that most of our staff was salaried. Is that not true? Are we mostly hourly?
Just the leadership.
So just directors are salaried.
No, a large part of how we classify them is dependent upon their role, the level of responsibility that they have. Exempt and non-exempt staff are regulated through the FLSA, or the Fair Labor Standards Act, and they're the ones who determine who is eligible for overtime. So the designation exempt and non-exempt just demarcates that you're eligible for overtime pay. So
you guys are like are salaried in HR.
So there are 3 members of the 5 that are salaried in my staff. So typically when there's works or projects that require additional workload, that workload is shifted to the exempt staff. And we pick that up to
Yeah.
prevent the overtime.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so to answer your question, about 15% of the workforce is salaried. And the remainder is hourly.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm actually kind of shocked by that, and this is not a thing we can determine right now, but I would just like to point out, I don't know if we do that for a reason, because I think one of the issues that companies get involved with is when you have so few salaried, that's why the overtime is so high, right? That makes sense, because you, generally speaking, you just have all these hourly, whereas salary, you're not paying the overtime. So
There are very strict laws
Yeah.
on being able to consider a person hourly versus salary, and that's. we
Well, and
receive
Department of
full-
Workforce Solutions is, that it makes
Yeah.
that decision for us.
Yeah, and the Department of Labor Wage and Hour have very strict requirements as to who we can apply that designation to. And there's actually a salary test. So it's a three-pronged test that my office or my department uses to identify an individual by their title, their wage, and their duties and responsibilities. And if any one of those don't meet the threshold for salaried positions, then it's a non-exempt position eligible for
is
overtime.
that very specific to government, like that test?
No.
No, it's applicable to all industry.
It's actually case law.
Yeah.
It came out of lawsuits and it's actually case law that test came back. That's the way the courts interpreted who is not. So that's now not just an industry
That's the
standard,
rule
that's a
now.
workforce standard.
Yeah.
And
And
this, because I work in a nonprofit, and like in our entire staff across the state, we have like 60 employees, and only one of us is non-exempt, like the rest of us are salaried. And I'm in nonprofit, so we definitely don't make as much money as like city employees, so
Yeah.
I'm so curious about how this works now.
It's not about
Well,
how much you make, it's your duties.
yeah, it's your duties and
Those types
responsibilities.
of.
But there
and-
is a dollar threshold, and it was 49,714 when it first came out or something, but say round it off
Yeah,
around
there's like a dollar
50,000.
threshold then.
So that's your first marker, but then you have to
Yeah.
follow those other two. So an administrative person that doesn't supervise anybody, you're gonna have a hard fight trying to tell them that they have to be exempt.
And Counselor Piano, just, for further information, if misdesignating an employee occurs, it's heavily fined by the Department of Labor. And it often triggers an audit of the entire workforce to determine whether or not they're classified correctly. Unfortunately, this had occurred in a number of organizations where it resulted in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. And overtime wages were calculated for those employees who weren't paid overtime
Yeah.
going 10 years back.
Jeez.
So, again, it's a very fine line that we walk to ensure that we're properly classifying our employees and paying them correctly. Because the Department of Labor classifies wages as an entitlement, which means it's not optional for us to say, okay, we're not going to pay you this week, we'll pay you next week. It's an entitlement where it has to be paid, it has to be accurate, and we have to be considering overtime and how we calculate those premium hours.
No, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I was just kind of curious because we talk about so much of the overtime. And I was just like, I always thought, honestly, this whole time, that most of our employees, like 75% of salary, I thought, why not we're paying so much overtime, but so few of our, and actually people prefer generally being hourly because you sometimes make more money than a salaried person when you because of the overtime. So I just find that to be so interesting, and I'm a little unfortunate for the city as a whole because that is where a lot of our expense comes from the overtime. So
There's a lot of
that's
content.
there.
Well, thank you, Marcus. Do you want to move on to the, I think that's all the questions we have.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Council.
How many more do we have, Patty?
2.
Okay.
We are almost there. 3.
4, 5.
You're right.
Does anybody need to take a break or anything?
There's Sykes, I ran out of room. So
We're
2:54.
we're gonna, you guys, we need to take a break. If we could be back here at 4:15, that'll give us 45 minutes to finish up.
Okay, our next department is 603-1054, which is facilities. And I believe Lawrence is here to talk about this.
I'm going home.
Yeah, workman's comp,
Where's our-
workman's comp management
Where's
people.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council,
Hi, Lawrence.
our other people. The one that I wanted to actually talk about was, my overtime. I cut that out completely. I don't want any overtime. We don't need any overtime. A lot of the things that we do, we can accomplish during the week. And, I mean, the only special things is like if we have to paint or clean carpets or do stuff like that, that's when we use overtime. We haven't done that in 3 years. So, and last year was the first year that we did have some overtime, and we used that in a heartbeat. We painted 3 offices in the weekend, and our overtime was done.
That was it,
So, that's one of the things that I just decided that we haven't had it, we're not gonna have it.
Okay.
Another one that I wanted to talk about was, travel. We don't travel. My people don't. They go from house to here, and that's the only travel that they do. And, I don't believe I have anything coming up for myself to travel on, so I just cut that out. And Mayor and Council, I just left everything the same. I wanted just leave it and we'll go from there and we'll work with what we got with and we'll keep the city running. Any questions?
Let's look at your contractual services just real quick, since it's a
Contract.
really big number. Was that, none of these were in the capital, were they? These items?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, I see what you got going on. Okay, in HVAC. Right, can you go back up to the other one, Patty, that was $1 million? Cause that was in capital, right? Yeah, the one there, purchased, built, yeah. It's $1 million, 34,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
maintenance building. Yeah, that was for the,
Stucco and,
for the stucco and the upgrade on the city hall.
and that was in the capital already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It rolled in, so it's showing
Yeah.
here now,
Okay.
but no, it did. So this is accumulation of all of it combined together.
Any other questions?
Can I bring up on pipelines? We forgot to talk about this. I just wanted to see if, his utility needed to be raised, because I think there was some issues this year where there was an additional 30,000, so is the 100,000 adequate? I don't really know, but I just,
Yeah, because that-
adjustment that happened.
That's right. They did pull out some money
Yeah.
from capital to pay for utilities. I forgot all
Will
about that.
need to be- And I don't know if that's the one-time shot, or we can consider that for his budget.
Yeah, thanks, thank you, Keegan.
Yeah, it looks
This
like
one
his,
is-
his usual,
Can't remember who it was, I had utilities, but I really don't remember the past one over.
I think we pulled the ones that were going to oh, whose is it? It was one of the ones we discovered as we're doing normal maintenance that we fixed. But yeah, so we could bump this to like 125,000.
And it was, and was it like 32 or 37,000 that was the additional cost?
I think it was like 31 or 32.
603-1054 is 4716. We'll just look at actuals.
Utilities?
Mm-hmm.
Budgeted $137,300. He has spent $117,209.51. He's got remaining $20,090.49.
You're gonna make me do math, aren't you?
Yeah, there was a department that we needed to,
So he's gonna need about 160,000. So we'll increase that to by 60,000.
And that's because another one transferred over, zeroed out, so it actually did increase it.
He's coming in higher than, you see like in 25, you ended at almost 112. Plus, yeah, as we've identified a couple other departments that should have already been consolidated under him, we've been moving them over. So as a city, the cost didn't change, but as a department, it has. So we'll fix that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Any other questions for Lawrence? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, community services is 10:55, and that'll be Keegan.
Hello, Mayor and counselors. So just to kind of go back over my department, when I was hired, I was the first position for the city project manager. So that was a new position. They gave me a budget of basically $27,075 and let me know that they weren't sure how that was going to work out. And I may have to come to council for an adjustment, which I did. So when I planned this budget, I looked at the growth within my department. Now I'm a community development department. By October, I had 2 full-time employees move into my department, the grants and contract manager, and then the housing coordinator. And then by January, we hired another position, the grants compliance officer. So by January, within 6 months, 7 months of being hired, I grew from 1 to a department of 4. So in my logic, I thought just multiply what they originally gave me by 4. So something around $100,000 would be what I'd shoot for. After we kind of did adjustments internally, I have the budget that I have here. So just starting with travel, took all that off. Just as we all had conversations. My next 2 items are professional service and other services. Basically, those 2, I put 23 and 5,000, so basically $28,000. Thinking about different needs that might come up before a project started, and money could be allocated out of a project. So this is kind of pre-project, thinking about soil studies that might be done, or any other kind of professional services you might need to start a project. For supplies, 4,000, that basically between 4 people is $1,000 for the year per person. Non-cap, put it 5,000 just because we kind of accumulated a lot of furniture from around and didn't necessarily have new things. So thinking about things we might need as we're growing. Uniforms put at $500. Let's see. So training looks high at 15,000. That was actually combined with what I had for travel, and those were different kind of registration fees. Since I took travel out, I asked that we leave the training so that I could look for things online. And basically, as a new department, I feel, and especially focused on community development and economic development, that's kind of a new concept within everybody working with me, with my team, that they needed, development of skill sets to understand community development and economic development, and then just strengthen their grant skills and skills around housing. So that's why I have it at 15,000. And the goal was to look for kind of online training.
Are these?
Yes.
Are all these online Governor's Economic Development Summit?
No, those are originally the ones, guys, that were connect.
Some of those are, so give a small budget for travel.
Those were.
You see targets in state and stuff like that, so some of these are real important.
I thought they were, and that's why my travel was really high, because I really thought those were like base important ones. The first one, B2G2, deals with federal grant software that Alicia and Annabelle would have to deal with. The Gathering Strong Towns is a forum about housing that was actually out of state. The Governor's Economic Development Summit is once a year in Albuquerque, but you know, and I felt like everybody should go to that. The New Mexico Housing Summit's in Albuquerque, the TransCon, super important around transportation and infrastructure down, it was just in Las Cruces. The Water and Wastewater Association, we had a conversation that I need my skill set developed around water systems and wastewater. So I'm actually going this month. And I'm going to focus on the wastewater. I originally was thinking that the next time around I'd focus on water, understanding like distribution and production, paving and transportation conference, obviously about infrastructure and roads, and then particularly planning for
I
training.
know we're trying to cut, can we get?
Well, this was based on what she,
I know,
changed
but
last
I've been chewing the fat on it and.
So I had a lot of travel. I'll be honest. I had 28,000 that went with this. So, and looking at how everybody else sacrificed, my thinking was we'll take another year to see what everybody really needs to develop in this new department. And then next year I'll ask. And so I'll translate all this into finding online components that are similar to
have
this.
a question on this one. The UNM continuing education, is that a class?
Oh, that is a project management. Alicia has been,
No, my question is this like a class you enroll in,
yes.
Right, because that would fall under our tuition reimbursement, I believe, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's an online project management
Like an
course.
actual credit class that you would take
Yes.
through the university. So that one would actually be done through our tuition reimbursement. Because
Although he only has $5,000 or $2,500 in that. It's actually a certification for project management.
And originally, it was funded when I was in planning. And then because I moved to a new department, I was not able to use that funding from the planning. So, I didn't enroll this year.
well,
I had asked if it was continuing education, and I was informed no.
So it's actually a
So
project
that's-
management certification.
David,
are you an actual student enrolled as a student, or is this just
No,
something
this
you
is-
offer that's?
Continuing education is a completely separate programming through UNM. These offer professional
that's-
certifications. So
then
this
that's-
is a professional project management certification course.
Okay, that's
That
what I
is
was at.
3 months. Yes, through UNM. And it's an online program. And then the rainforest, the reason that there's 8, those happen twice a year. They're really great networking events, but it's in Albuquerque. It's a full day, so you have to spend the night. So that adds up really quick. But what I realized is that we can take another year to figure out what skill set everybody needs and then really focus next year on doing requests. And I can use this $15,000 to look for online comparable events.
I appreciate the sacrifice. Do you feel like if because you mentioned like housing, there's one in Albuquerque and a few that are in state. I think the big expense comes when we fly, right? I mean, mileage too, hotels, but I mean, wondering like if there's a way, I mean, 15,000 maybe I obviously could be wrong. Seems like it would go a long way, but probably goes less these days. But yeah, but just wondering if like, I don't know, if you had to narrow some of those down, maybe not do all of them, but if there were certain ones that you felt like were the most important, like this one is, or I don't know if you city manager talking, you're like, this one is pretty critical and we just allow at least one this year that's not virtual and then like plan for like additional next year. And I'm just throwing that out as an idea.
We could maybe kind of huddle together and see, what everyone prefers. And then maybe pick 1 or 2 and then focus the rest on online. So we could look at that. And then sometime the virtual aspect, you don't know until the last minute. Like they may offer for some of them to be virtually.
Yeah.
And so we could jump on that if they do. I know for the UNM Rainforest, sometime they do and sometime they don't offer that one, but those are awesome events for economic development. And I know a comment was made that virtual is actually better.
There we go.
I kind of disagree that it's super important to network face to face, especially for community development, economic development. And that's a new concept for people.
Yeah.
And so they really need to understand, 1, the difference between the two, and 2, what that encompasses, especially as grant people and housing people. So that was my logic, but I feel, and I think the group is okay with trying to find online for this year. And then, but, you know, granted, depending on how much we spend,
Yeah.
we could say, you know, it's only gonna cost us X amount of dollars, so maybe we'll transfer some money and go to an in-person
Yeah,
one.
especially if it's like in-state and maybe it's not as expensive. I mean, and because in state you could potentially try it. I'm just trying to think of way, because I mean, I'm kind of on the same page. Like, I think every organization, when they have to cut, training and marketing things get cut first, right? Because that's just because you don't want to cut positions. But I mean, I do agree for this, it's probably better I mean, I'm a much preferred in person than virtual. I think it's hard to connect with people and have trained, but I'm just trying to find maybe a balance of a way to find at least one in-person training for you guys, but just throwing that out there.
And we
depending on
can-
the budget.
We could maybe ask for that as we're going, maybe after 6 months, and say, you know, we still have $10,000. How about we shift it and go in person? So we can do that.
I'm sure something's gonna come up.
So, and then the other, so that's a $15,000. The 5,000 for publishing is because I want to do more community events, and you all know now that I'm just kind of using your Facebooks and whatever's free, but I'd like to do some more community development. That we actually advertise for, so that's the 5,000. And then the $1,000 was just subscriptions and dues. Having a pocket of money to maybe find memberships that reinforce economic development. Originally, I was thinking that I really would like to have the new building codes. But CB and the planning department offered to allow me a membership and to send me their PDFs, but I'd still like to keep that at $1,000 for other memberships. So for example, the wastewater, and the water and wastewater, I did the membership myself. So going forward, I don't want to have to do that. After, it's not high, but you know, I don't want to do that going forward. And that's my budget. If you have,
What's your
any-
rental equipment? Is that the Xerox?
Yeah, and that one, you know, originally when I first, that 27,000 I got, they told me that my copier was 6,500, but Fran checked it out and said that it's currently at 39, so just do it at 4,000. But originally they told me that I have the old legal department's copier, so I don't know if it's a little bit more expensive, but Fran checked and she said she felt comfortable at 4,000.
Okay, well, thank you, Keegan.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Vehicle service shop, Amanda's up.
So I have 10 full-time employees at the vehicle service center. This includes 1 shop foreman, 4 mechanics, 1 welding supervisor, 3 welders, an administrative assistant, and myself. The notes of mention is gonna be my overtime. Previously, as an exempt employee, I was answering all after-hours calls. Frank told me I had to get a life and that we needed to have a mechanic on call. So yes, my overtime has increased significantly. And all of my employees, other than my supervisor and my shop foreman, are under a CBA. So we do have to have that overtime where it's at. Unfortunately, we can't eliminate it. And the other increase is going to be in vehicle maintenance. Parts are just getting more and more expensive. This year, we're already overextended. I will be back tonight for bake for more money. Sorry, it's not me, I promise. The other significant increase is going to be the 25,000 in the GPS. So we increased our GPS from just the white fleet to all city vehicles. So that's going to be an additional $25,000. So we went from around 125 vehicles to almost 300 that'll be under GPS monitoring. Yes.
But did that save us money long term?
It will, yes.
Like the vehicles to.
because we're gonna have the accountability on the employee side as far as speeding, you know, take your foot off the gas, let's save some gas kind of thing. We're gonna have the accountability as far as risk management is concerned. It'll actually, depending on if we can switch our policy on our vehicle, save us some money on the insurance. So the telematics is quite important, and I'm surprised that wasn't something that was brought up in our risk management assessment because most municipalities already have it in play.
Okay, sorry, because it's been a lot of information. Can you just like say that one time? What's in play already? The GPS system for the.
Right, telematics, the GPS. So most municipalities, depending on their insurance programs, are already required to have telematics or GPS in all of their vehicles.
Telematics, I wasn't familiar with that word. Okay.
That's just a,
Where do you have that on your 45?
Fancy
90?
words would be-
no, it's a actual provider.
Oh, it's a
4420?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think.
I thought it was like a
It is.
description.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
GPS provider. It's a company.
Oh, thank you. That's very, okay. I was losing my mind. I didn't know that telematics was,
GPS.
but I didn't know it was like the provider's name. I thought it
No,
was like-
our provider is,
That's the company, Telemetrics, right?
no.
That-
Telematics just means GPS. It's a fancy word for GPS.
Not the mayor and I are both confused. Great. Okay. It's just a fancy word for GPS. Okay. got
Yes.
it. Okay.
Trying to be all fancy on you guys. real
Yeah,
quick.
I thought
Listen,
Telemetrics,
you should double
Telematics
down.
was the
I know.
company.
Okay. But the company we go through, okay, so this will just help. And then like out of just mild curiosity, I mean, what happens? Like if I'm a city employee and you find out I'm speeding or whatever.
on the naughty
that's-
list.
It's on
So,
the audible list.
so all of our department heads have access to their departmental vehicles, which is
Okay.
part of our telematic system is we separate them out. So it's all handled at the department level.
Oh, okay, so the director's kind of.
Unless we get an anonymous tip or whatever, and then usually that's something that we handle, we give all that information to, and I usually CC the department head and HR on it. If it's something that's completely egregious, then HR takes care of it.
And if a vehicle's stolen, that you can track the vehicle.
Yes, which is something that we have needed in prior years, because I believe we have 4 vehicles that we landed up writing off
There were several.
that were never
yeah.
recovered, and then we had quite a few that were recovered but completely totaled.
That we,
Stolen.
that employees stole or that we just don't know where
They were just stolen from the departments.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, crime is real. Around here.
That's not great. Okay, yeah, that's helpful, GPS. And all of those are under enterprise.
No.
Just kidding. No, okay.
So the GPS units, all the enterprise units have the GPS in them, but also all of our city-owned vehicles are going to have the
Wow.
GPS in them.
Got it.
Yes. So right now we're transitioning the last of them, which are the 8-pin, which are going to be the larger vehicles, because they have a different setup when you plug into them.
Okay.
And the water, wastewater, and electric, we were waiting for their contract to end, and we're now switching all of those over to our current system. So everybody's going to be on the same system. And vehicle maintenance, like Director Largo was explaining, is all departments. We cover all vehicles, all equipment, everything within our department for all funds.
So one of the things, Amanda, I wanted to make sure is the vehicles that we do have the maintenance contracts with through Enterprise. They're not, so you've went from 651 to 600. Is that the reason why?
Yeah, the drops on the maintenance.
The maintenance vehicles, purchase property, maintenance vehicles?
And you said it was higher, so I'm not sure.
That's new math.
Yeah, that's definitely.
There's some new math I've seen.
Yeah. I'm
since I've been here.
just,
Yeah, so is that, I mean, you went from 651 to 600, but I know you explained to us
paying out of
some
370.
subscriptions for,
Well, no, this is your fiscal 25 actual though.
No, I mean, the White Fleet is coming out of 375.
The leases are, but not the
Maintenance side.
agreements. Those are coming out of your 603.
So in theory,
So it's gonna actually have to increase quite a bit then.
well, maybe but does Enterprise provide maintenance with I thought you said maintenance.
So the White Fleet, we pay for those bills. that comes through enterprise, but I was under the impression that it was coming out of 375 when we had those charges, and she just said it's not going to.
You
That's why
thought,
we're here.
you thought the maintenance for the white fleet was coming out of 375,
Right.
but she's saying it's not, so.
Well, that's,
Yeah, so then I'm gonna actually have to increase it significantly because those,
I sent you
when we
those
pay,
invoices. I could be lying, but I
Yeah,
sent you
I
the
think-
invoices.
because they haven't hit me
I think
this
the
year.
conversation was that
Oh, yeah, that's why I told them I'm coming back to beg for money to see.
Okay, you're gonna need to rework that and then just give me the number, but I need it tomorrow.
But I need to know if those maintenance invoices are coming out of 375 or if they're gonna be coming out of my operating. Because none of those invoices has hit my operating this fiscal year.
They're on the enterprise JE. They're not specific, they're not billed separately. They're part of that JE every month.
Right, so it's 375.
I don't know.
so you got 670,000 from 375 1054 414 that was I'm sorry.
So that projected cost is only gonna be for the actual maintenance contract. It's not for the actual maintenance of the vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
So just
If you
decide,
have a maintenance contract, wouldn't that cover the maintenance?
No, so
Give like $6 and change per month per vehicle for the system and everything that goes with it. But the actual repairs are charged at cost.
so, when we have council in an hour, let us know if you, pulling that out of 375 or you gotta increase this line item, okay?
So the actual bills, like from Jiffy Lube, when you go get your oil changed up at Jiffy Lube,
Yeah.
I believe, because the only cost I gave you out of 375 is just the maintenance contract. It's not the actual bills that are coming in, and I'm not sure where they're coming out of.
You would think the maintenance contract would cover all maintenance though.
No.
Very confusing. I mean,
It's actually,
You guys-
it's actually a system contract for access to the software. It's not really.
Which one are you talking about?
Call it
The
something else.
375, the 607, and I'm sorry, man, we're just
No,
trying
you-
to catch up.
It-
You know, you got $670,000 under 375 1025 411 4712.
That's for the lease of the vehicles plus the maintenance contract to have maintenance or access to the maintenance software.
375. So it is in 375.
So all the actual.
Maintenance is or not?
Yeah.
Maintenance like
The
the oil
monthly's
changes.
being charged at 375. We probably should have switched that, but.
So is the amount then the amount you have from going from 651 to 600? With this 670, is it gonna cover, is that, do you have enough money? Because if I add the 670 plus the 600, that puts you at 1.2 million. Yeah, or is that the same amount? Is it supposed to be 670?
That's the 375 account I think you're looking at there.
You're looking at the 375 in this. account.
Right, so 375 doesn't roll over into the 603 like the other accounts do
So,
from capital.
so do you have enough money with 600,000? That's the question with the maintenance.
Well, you're not using that, you're not putting maintenance in the 603 for the white fleet, so you
Right,
should have enough in
Right.
theory, because the other will go to the.
that's where I was coming from when I did my budget, because I thought it was coming
I
out.
think you
of
explain that to
375.
us.
Yes,
Yeah, so that's, we just want to make sure.
Yeah, we're solid.
So the 600,
If you
600.
how to find you guys.
She's all, I.
Yeah, don't come back. I made a mistake.
Amendment to her budget item tonight on council, by the
Make
way.
note of this for this time next year and be like, we told you. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're not, no, he told you so. We just want to make sure what we have in the 670,000.
I have to say this year, it's not my fault. We're blaming fire. I'm putting it out there.
Oh, good. That's always blame.
Fire department's.
Okay,
They got a new truck out of her fund. I think they're okay.
Okay, we can blame.
yeah, yeah.
And a new engine for the other.
That's expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something else is she's had a few really unusual items hit this year that we're
Big
hoping don't
items.
repeat themselves. So I think we've got a really good solid start for the funding.
All right.
Okay.
Whew.
Any other questions? Sure.
Any other
Very
big
good.
changes?
No,
All right, well, thank you.
thanks.
Thanks.
All right, so
And I think I
that
did
gets us
something.
down to the last of it.
Look into it.
I've got notes on everything we noted today that needs changed. But what I need from you guys is how do you want to proceed? So based on everything I've got so far, we're finally at a point where we can afford everything that's in here, including the changes we've got written down for today. And typically at this point, then I would bring it back at the next meeting with just a real general roll up. I give you a quick PowerPoint highlighting the basic ins and outs of the bigger funds. And we go from there.
Patty, I have a question regarding that. I mean, I agree that, I mean, you told us, but it'd be great to have kind of a one pager of like what we changed, right? So like I wrote it down, but like the two positions from fire, the 15 to 10 from police, the unfunded 6 positions from PD, the training, all this stuff, some of the overtime. If you could just see that in like a one page, but also just for my clarification. So I understand because we have to do the reimbursement, we have to have some money. And like you said, as we've already seen just right now, like we're gonna have some departments that come back to us throughout the year. I mean, we sometimes have a lot of those that say, oh, there's change, we need money. So we have to keep some money in the general fund for those things. So I understand that. So after you cut all of these things that you told us about, essentially in the remaining for expenses, that isn't tied up already into another, like we've already committed the money, is what, 800,000?
825,000 as of this morning.
Okay, so and then that's uncommitted.
Now tonight's her budget adjustment though, and all the increases on 603, when we get to period 12, that is gonna affect general fund.
So it'll almost drop to like 700,000 or so probably, and then that's all. It's less than $1 million that we have unclassified, because we have more than that, but it's been spoken for essentially. So that 800,000 will be all we have left in fiscal year 2027 for emergencies, things that come up for any department, basically. So that's not a lot, actually. So I see what you're saying. That's not a lot.
And it's not a hard number, because if our revenues come in better for this year than anticipated, that'll give us a little bit of cushion there. We've got the policy where we do sweep the unspent budget money over. And that's the only way we were ever able to finally start funding equipment and building maintenance and needs there. So that was a necessary process we put in place. The other thing will be, it's dependent upon all the grants and when the reimbursements do come in. As it is right now, even if those reimbursements do come in, until I close the next quarter, I can't adjust that. So we have to go with the 6.4 million loan that there is now. There is the potential that it could be higher at the next quarter, and then we'd have to make a very drastic emergency meeting and a budget cut.
Yeah,
I mean, there is that potential.
Well, Patty, you offered the Excel spreadsheet,
So I can
you
export
could get-
this into an Excel spreadsheet.
and then that way it could have the whole thing in Excel, and then
You could sort, search and do it.
I would like that.
Now, there
that
are
way.
2 ways to do that spreadsheet, and I'll show you so you can give me some guidance on this. Because I could do reports all day, but if you don't like them or want them, they're not gonna do us a lot of good. So right now, the basic one I can export is this, and it'll show all the basics, but it'll show you your 25 numbers of the 27 in progress. I can have it include all the sublines, and then it gets really ugly. But if you want that level of detail, we could do that.
The earlier the better. I mean, because it's a spreadsheet. I mean,
Yeah, you could sort
mean,
it
we could
through
do
this
that with-
Sunday.
yeah, put it all in there
Okay.
once we learn.
And then for the presentation, so you want a recap of the changes, and I can just do it, I can just type them in a spreadsheet really quick. What I don't know is are you guys want to analyze those and make changes in 2 weeks?
Well,
Because in 2 weeks,
could-
we need an approved budget
Well, could we,
or something in between.
so when is 2 weeks? Is that in May? Is that what is that, May 13th?
12th.
12th. If you could just, I mean, I don't anticipate, some of us might find errors, things like that. I mean, or things that aren't making sense. That's one thing, as long as we don't find, and I think we can fix those before the meeting,
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, I think we could be set.
but everybody has to have their comments in by May 7th.
Yeah, because I would need time to do your updates.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't do new books, but I would give you a new recap. when we
Right.
open that night.
So by the May 12th meeting, you need to have it finalized. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so if by May 7th, you give me any feedback, any things you want changed, any proposed changes, I can get them integrated. And then we'll have it on the May 12th agenda. And that's the night we want it approved. Can't think and type at the same time. And that's the night that we need the final approval, because from that approval, then I have about 20 schedules that are dependent on these final numbers to prepare for DFA before they'll accept submission of the budget.
And that's in June.
It's June 1. It's due by June.
Yeah, so that's yeah, so that's
So we get it done in May 13th.
And then we
May
come
12th.
back again in June and they require us to present it again. And the only thing that they want changed, that they know will change, they say it shouldn't change anything, is just our final cash. When we close out June, then I update those numbers as part of all the other reporting I do. And then we resubmit the whole budget again and they double check that our cash numbers are gonna work. It's a crazy process.
On a kind of somewhat separate note, do we have cash reserve?
Yes.
And then is it 3 months or is it 90 days or what is it?
So it varies depending on fund, but for general fund, it's 20% of expenditures, of your budgeted expenditures.
So we've been able to maintain that.
I've got that in the calculation.
Okay, that's good. I mean, cash reserve is important because you just never know what's gonna happen.
And
So
and those are required by statute, right? State statute.
State statute requires 1/12.
So
So require 1 month on hand, which is what, 8%, 8.7%. And it's, I would never recommend we try to even venture that low because that leaves you no wiggle room. And we went with the 20% some years back because we just think.
that was by ordinance for our charter, right?
No, that's actually in policy.
Oh, it's policy,
It's in
okay.
council approved policies.
But I mean, I think that's good. I mean, standard practice for most businesses is 3 months cash on hand. So I mean, because of what you're saying, emergencies and things, I mean, if a major emergency happens, we only have 1 month cash on hand, that's not gonna get us very far. So I understand the conservative. I think it's hard because we want to spend money, but I do get it. Cause I mean, if an emergency happens, we're gonna be SOL. So
And 3 months would be 25%.
yeah, and so we're
So we're a little under that.
Okay.
And then there's a few other funds that we require reserve on. The big one is utilities because
But those are enterprise funds that
those
are.
are enterprise and
general
they're all maintained separately as far as
And
cash.
getting the PRC and everybody else with those. Well, are you clear then on the direction? We'll just we'll get the whole Excel spreadsheets and if we, I guess we can have a motion to adjourn. Al, is that?
I'd like to make a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Sierra.
Sorry, just before we wrap up, because it's sounding like there may not be another time to bring this up, and I know that it's been brought to other counselors' attention and your attention as well, that the public has been very concerned about the purchase of the Flock Safe City system and the surveillance of the private data being shared with national databases, a private national database. And I'm wondering if there's any way we can address that within this time frame before we approve this budget with the police department about possibly exploring other options that do not have this practice of keeping a national database of citizens' movements. This has been a civil liberties issue nationally, particularly with this company. And so that's been a big red flag for me in worrying about how to protect private data and not compromise that in the name of public safety. I understand the desire to move to high-tech solutions, and I understand the desire to support our police force. But I think now is the time that we have to really make a decision about whether we're going to utilize this company for which other cities and counties or other municipalities have been the subject of lawsuits based on these civil liberties concerns.
I don't believe we've utilized our procurement process yet, so a company is not defined yet.
So, yeah, Sierra, so I think the biggest problem is what you're talking about is the license plates. That's the
It
one.
was exactly what we discussed in the capital hearings for the, yes, license plate scanners and also for the gunshot responding system that I know that the company hasn't been identified through procurement, but that was what the materials presented to us in the capital hearings named was this Safe City system through Flock.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is, our next step is to move to a RFP or a selection of a company that provides these services. And, of course, we can check and see what they do share. I mean, every time you click on Google, you give everything. I found out Google is accessing my contacts on my phone the other day. Didn't think it was, but it is. And so is Facebook. But yeah, I think the controls is going to be part of the selection of the company itself. But go ahead, Frank.
I'd like to mention an important thing about the data and the sharing. I think one of the reasons Chief Pablo is bringing this to us is there's already license plate readers at the port of entry as you come into New Mexico. So unfortunately, our notices from the state take 30 minutes to an hour and a half to notify us. So you have a silver alert, a turquoise alert, murdered, missing Indigenous woman, BOLO on a stolen vehicle. And they go through there. By the time we're getting notified, they're in Pruitt, Grants, Farmington. There's no way our law enforcement can do anything. At the same time, if we have a child abducted here, we want to share that license plate information. We want to know that this is the most important thing is that data sharing is saying, hey, the silver Corolla with California license plates, this number, this number, this number, that's what we're looking for. And that's going to hit the red alarm. Without that sharing, we don't know California has a abducted child in a silver Corolla coming through Gallup. There's nothing to flag it. So it's very important that it's targeting and tagging those. We've had a couple coming through Gallup where some elders who were suffering from dementia and stuff like that, last seen this location. And when they come through, we pick up the reader and our law enforcement are able to find them and get them returned safely to their homes. Without that sharing component, we're on an island. This is a big tool for the murdered and missing Indigenous women, the silver alerts again, the turquoise alerts, the stolen vehicles, the sharing component with others that have the same system. It's extremely important and accessing those state database.
I'd hope that they would be protected. There's been a bunch of data breaches all over the place. I mean, the whole licensing and regulation has lost data. The UNM Gallup has lost data. I mean, the data breaches alone that are happening, if this stuff is stored in the licensing, I think licensing taxation revenue. Is that right? Is that where all this, the breaches that happen, are going to get a lot more than just your license plates.
And I think within our contract, and we'll lean on Erica for this, is before we approve any contract, we're looking at those type of things, how they're using the data, and we don't have to enter an agreement with any company if we disagree how they're using the data, if they're selling our data, right, if they're doing anything like that. So we can rely on Erica to protect us. Flock was an example. I think it's a brand. But again, even if they select that, we can negotiate with how are you going to use our data? If you're sharing it to other law enforcement agencies for the identification of these type of situations, that's what it's intended for. If you're selling it on the open market to say who's traveling through New Mexico west to east for marketing purposes, no.
And if it's
those type of things, or this, are we tracking how many times a person goes from Arizona to New Mexico or leaves town going to the north? We're not trying to track individual people. I think that's a misconception. I've seen the Facebook posts where we're trying to track the undesirables and see where they're going and what their movement is. That's not the intent of this. And I'll let Erica speak more on what she can do legal wise.
Well, it's an evolving area of the law right now at the moment. So just for you all to know, we do have the New Mexico passed the Driver Privacy and Safety Act earlier this year. That actually places restrictions. It's the first of its kind to regulate the sharing of information of the license plate readers. It's tied to immigration status, seeking healthcare, out-of-state requests. It creates a specific statutory exemption to IPRA for the license plate readers. Right now before the US Supreme Court is Fourth Amendment question about geo-tracking and geospatial data in your cell phone. There have been previous case law that requires a warrant to get some of that data. Again, you know, the law is slow to evolve with these technologies. We also have, what was the other thing I wanted to mention? And it's unclear to us right now in the municipal legal community what the reasonable expectation of it in terms of privacy and some of this surveillance. Again, that's still an evolving area of the law. I think the ACL, I mean, you can go to these different resources, see what it is, but it's very much an active area of the law. The Privacy Act goes into effect July 1st. So that would probably fall into when we would be looking at contract negotiations through procurement. I mean, maybe even before that. Again, with some of the web safety and data protections, hosting is obviously a concern in terms of where that data is hosted, how that data is protected. That's stuff that we've talked about with IT in terms of what capacity is. So there's certainly a lot of questions and a lot of issues to be flushed out and resolved, and a lot of moving targets in this area of the law in terms of what information is collected with these tools.
Thank you, Erica.
But
And from what I
other than to say, there are good questions.
You know, it's
From what
all-
I understand, the concerns are because they're of things that have already happened with this particular company and how the data has been used before. So it's not hypothetical situations, but yes, we absolutely need to be very vigilant moving forward with this. If we approve that request, then we have to be very careful about how we procure the contract and what's in that contract.
I will also say that the presentation that was put before council, it's my understanding, and Chief's not here, but she should be here later. Is that what was presented was the largest suite of tools and the largest things that they could offer. So certainly within that, like with all technology, there's different packages. So I think it was presented from a budgetary standpoint to say, if we invest in all of this, this is the maximum investment. This is what would be committed over time. But I know like with Albuquerque, they're only using certain components in terms of the drones and the shot detectors. Like different municipalities have used these in different ways. So certainly we can learn from others' mistakes and what people have learned. And again, as this continues to evolve, do what we can to protect the city and its citizens.
Data's data, you know, that's the thing. So, all right, thank you, Erica. Appreciate it. Thank you, Sierra. Is that, we'll adjourn now and then come back to our meeting at 5 o'clock? I mean, 6 o'clock?
Mr. Mark?
I'll be there.
Did you have anything else?
Mark?
No,
Mr.
that's-
Mark? This is Francis.
Oh, Francis.
Oh,
I
Francis.
I just kind of want to let Miss Sierra know that that is the beauty of the procurement system. And something like that would be handled through an RFP. And so we would very closely put a set of a scope of work together that addresses all those issues and concerns. And that if we have any of these providers that have had issues in the past or anything like that, they will be ranked accordingly. So at any time, if anybody, whether it's the public or council or anybody would like to see the scope of services that we're putting together while we're in the process or before it hits the streets, we do post them and it's available for anybody and everybody to see those solicitations. We do put drafts together, so anybody interested in that can always ask for that and we can share that, and any concerns can be brought up before and we can incorporate that into the scope of services. So to ease your concerns, we can say we want, you know, a system that provides, I don't know, a pink pony to go along with it, and that's what we will expect. So
Thank you, Francis.
you're welcome.
All right, thank you, everybody. With that, If, yeah. Hi.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Counselor Molina,
Yes.
Counselor Piano.
yes.
Piano, Counselor Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Yazzie,
Yes.
Mayor DePauli.
Yes. All right, see everybody at 6 o'clock.